have entered the PM Entertainment Podcast.
Hello and welcome to an all-new episode of the PM Entertainment Podcast, the show that would gladly sell its children, hijack a city bus, or start a gang war in prison for reasons we're still not 100% sure about, just so we can continue to repeatedly praise and bang on about to anyone who will listen the work of the kings of explosions, action, and occasionally the odd erotic thriller or women in prison movie, Rick Pepin and Joseph Mahy of PM Entertainment. I'm your host, John Cross, and don't forget, if you like the show, please remember to rate and review us on any of the podcasting platforms you use, share our Facebook and Instagram posts, like, comment, and you can contact us via our email, pmentpod@gmail.com. That's pmentpod@gmail.com. You can also call us, I believe, or leave a voicemail at 347-669-0053. Which is just an ongoing Google Voice account that I've had forever. All right. This week, we're in all new territory again as we delve into the world of Henri Charr, who collaborated with PM Entertainment frequently between 1994 and about 1997 when they distributed his movie Illegal Entry, Formula for Fear. Sometimes they would simply distribute the movies like Caged Hearts, Under Lock and Key, the first two parts of his unofficial Women in Prison trilogy, and My Uncle the Alien, which facilitated his move from exploitation to family-friendly films. And sometimes they would executive produce his films like Hollywood Safari, which they also helped turn into a one-season TV show, and is cast very much like a PM film too. And today's topic of discussion, Cellblock Sisters, Banished Behind Bars, because you have to say the tagline like that. That's just the way it is. It's how it comes out of me, which is the third and last part of his exploration of that most sleaziest of exploitation art forms, the Women in Prison movie. It stars diminutive British firecracker, softcore starlet, model, and indie adult film mogul who now spends her time between success coach, self-help author, and dog psychic Gail Thackeray, also known as Gail Harris, also known as Robin Harris, actor, producer, and director Annie Wood, who would not only had some dalliances with softcore thrillers prior to this, including a bit part in Char's Caged Hearts and spots in Playboy's Inside Out series and Showtime series Love Street, but also was a biker chick in the Eric Estrada starring PM Entertainment film The Last Riders. Jenna Bodner, the red-headed antagonist who spent the 90s in the world of softcore and low-budget action. And lastly, and definitely worth a mention, Red Horton, a stunt person who had worked with PM and City Lights from the very beginning on tons of their productions, doing stunts, second unit directing, and occasional acting. No doubt we will get into his career many times on this show, and it is co-written by frequent Henri Charr collaborator and fellow Columbia College alum, Jess Mancilla. Our guest this week is brand new to the podcast. She is incredibly knowledgeable, lively, funny, and open host of the Manic Movie Monday podcast, which describes itself as a podcast that celebrates the weird, cult, and the naughty of Movieland. I came across it either on Instagram or just looking for podcast episodes on certain films and was instantly hooked. It's an absolute pleasure to have her on the show today, and it won't be the last time, as we plan to cover the Bikini Summer films this summer, the following summer, and possibly the third summer. Erin Dawn, a huge and happy welcome to the PM Entertainment Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I absolutely adore your podcast. I love PM Entertainment, and I love this movie. So I'm excited to talk about it.
No, me too. It's fantastic. We were looking to find a film that we could cover prior to Bikini Summer, because in my head, I'm just weird like this. I'm like, I can only cover Bikini Summer in the summer. Absolutely. I don't know why. That's just how it goes.
Absolutely. Malibu Bikini Shop. If I was going to do that, that would be a summertime. If I was going to do Spring Break 1983, it would absolutely be Spring Break. So
of course, entirely. I'm glad that you understand that. Also, I'm someone that if we're going to do a trilogy of films, even though we're not going chronologically on the show, I have to do the first one first, the second one second, and the third one third. I can't, even though the Bikini Summer films don't exactly have a through line.
Nope. There's no through line there,
No.
but
It's
absolutely,
just
yeah.
that
Nope, no connective tissue at
no,
all. So,
except bikinis and summer.
yeah, that's it. Bikinis and summer, and loosely the beach, basically.
Right.
Yeah,
Loosely
yeah.
the beach. Yes. So so how did you come to film originally? What was sort of the thing that lit the powder keg, as they say, for you in film fandom?
I honestly remember being about 5 years old and, seeing Jaws for the first time and seeing the naked lady swim across the screen and being like, oh, what is this? And, shark attack. And I loved being scared as a kid. So I think my first kind of foray into film in general was horror films. Like horror films were really big. And then as I got older, when I was like a teenager, I got really into screenwriting. And so I got very much into the films of Whit Stillman and David Lynch and Sam Raimi and for a minute Quentin Tarantino. So, oh, it's unfortunate.
We all go through that phase. Some people sadly have never left that phase.
That's right. Yeah. Those people do exist in the world. But yes, I was a big old QT fan. So, and then later on, I really got into B movies, cult exploitation, whatever you want to say, when I discovered USA Up All Night. So in the 90s, that was kind of my weekend, right? It was like Friday night was spent with Rhonda Shear and Saturday night was spent with Gilbert Gottfried. And I usually didn't make it to the 3 a.m. movie, but like I had a VHS tape that was ready to record all 6 hours with commercials. And so I could watch those movies. So I was very acquainted with things like Reform Schoolgirls and, women in prison type movies, the films of Linnea Quigley, different things like that. And then, after that, I've always just been into cinema in general. So, I mean, yeah, the show that myself and Hillary run is devoted to finding the positivity in films that may not necessarily have gotten a fair shake,
Oh yeah, 100%.
But we have done everything from exploitation to serious movies to David Lynch. We really have kind of do run the gamut as far as genre is concerned. So that's pretty much our show. So that's just, you've got one ex-con and one girl who's never seen the inside of a police car before. So.
Perfect. Which is not unlike the film we're about to be
absolutely
talking about.
She is the yes, Hillary is definitely the April to my May.
That's fantastic. You should definitely use that going forward, I feel like. But no, one of the other things that I think interested me in some regard, because obviously horror, obviously action, obviously some of the sort of mainstream genres are covered quite exclusively in podcasts, but everything from the sort of Hollywood erotic thriller in the 90s all the way through to obviously the kind of cable channel softcore stuff doesn't really get talked about very often. And in fact, even as fans of it, it can be difficult to find a place to talk about it without just coming across sounding,
18 different shades of creepy.
Right. Different shades of creepy, right? Which you never want to come across. And thankfully, I found a little corner of the world with my friend, Matt Perea, who's been a regular guest on this show, his direct-to-video connoisseur, where outside of action, which he kind of almost covers exclusively because it's one of the big straight-to-video genres, erotic thriller was actually the other reason he wanted to get into that show, because there was so many in the 90s. And so he never had anyone to talk about them with. So I came along and we've been doing erotic thrillers over on that show as sort of a once every other month kind of a special. And we've covered a few things over there. But that's a little bit how you kind of came into the PM fold when we were first talking, because there are some of these either more exploitative or more erotic thriller kind of movies that PM put out. They at least distributed. Some they executive produced, like this one, but some they just distribute. But I was interested how you first kind of came to that genre in particular, And whether you feel like it's a guilty pleasure, or whether you feel it's genuinely a genre that needs to be championed a bit more.
I honestly feel like it is genuinely a genre that needs to be championed more. It is a very feminist-centric genre. It doesn't get the fair shake for being something that was so dominating at that point. I mean, you couldn't. One of my favorite things in the whole wide world to do was go to Blockbuster Video and see if I could get, an unrated copy of Mirror Images, or an unrated copy of Night Rhythms, or, because they didn't do NC-17 and they didn't do anything further than that, but you could find some unrated stuff there, So between that and the mom and pop video stores, I was introduced to a lot of that stuff. I love the films of Gregory Hippolyte, aka Gregory Dark. Huge fans of John Quinn's work for Playboy TV. Those types of movies are my favorite. Like, I really do have a soft spot in my heart for the softcore genre, whether it's a softcore drama or softcore comedy, because that was a thing, or just the garden variety, femme fatale erotic thriller. That's definitely something. And I was lucky enough to be able to interview a documentarian about the history of the erotic thriller, and we got into the whole history of just Playboy at night, and how, and he was very delighted by the fact that, and not in a creepy way, he was delighted by the fact that I knew my stuff and could talk about it, and it's just a thing that, I think it was just one of those random, like, I saw it on Skinamax one night and was like, what's this, and I was also one of those kids that, I say kid, but like 15, 16 years old. I was one of those kids who, when I sunk my teeth into something, I immediately went into research mode, and I would find out what movie that person did and what movie that person did. And that's kind of then bled over into me having a podcast, because one of the things that is a big part of the podcast is all of the deep diving that we do on the different actors and the background of film and stuff. I mean, Hillary jokes. She's like, you're the brains of the operation. She goes, I literally watch a movie and I show up. She goes, you do the research.
Yeah. Well, that's what I found that I've really liked with PM in particular. Most other things that I've covered on the After Movie Diner, my original show, I would either research as I was going along or, whatever. But I was very much like you when I first came across either music or movies. If it was something that really spoke to me, I was like, okay, I need to see everything that everyone has done from this thing. I need to understand how this movie came to be. I need to understand how the production company, blah, 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 blah. And I hadn't really, outside of the occasional deep dive into an actor like Donald Pleasance or Wings Hauser or someone like that, I hadn't really been doing that a lot as an adult, because outside of listening to podcasts, and podcasts really, I think the thing that podcasts do not get enough credit for, because we're now in the world where everyone just goes, ugh, every neckbeard on the planet has a, podcast. What the hell are we doing? You have a situation where actually, when I first started doing it about 12 or 13 years ago, I thought I knew everything about movies. Like, I thought, and not in an arrogant way, I just thought I'd watched movies, consumed movies, seen movies since I was 5 years old, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I just thought, I basically know my stuff. And then meeting other podcasters in the very early days, I was like, I don't know anything. I don't know anything at all. I don't know anything at all, because all these things, whether it's PM Entertainment or other straight to video companies, whether it's exploitation stuff, B movies, all the way down to shot on VHS stuff and things like that Troma were putting out, or, that are now coming out again. I really had very little idea about it. And it's been a wonderful journey. The only reason I keep doing it, and because I keep getting excited about it, is because the journey has led me to learn more and more and more just about all sorts of things. And so, what I love, for example, this episode, it's a PM Entertainment podcast. So we're covering films that PM Entertainment either produced or executive produced straight off the bat. We'll get into the distributed ones down the road. This one works because Joe and Rick's name is at least on it as an exec producer. But finding a filmmaker like Henri Charr, who I actually think, like, I'm suddenly a big fan of. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, I need to collect about, and not because necessarily his subject matter, but, and we'll get into this on the show, but the cinematography, the writing, the actors he picks, some of the stories he chooses to tell, the way that he has characters in his movies that don't behave like characters in Hollywood movies. They actually behave, I think, more like they might behave in real life, which seems like a weird thing to say, but I know what I mean by that.
Mm-hmm.
So finding things like this, every level, whether you think of PM entertainment as a certain level or whatever, every level has more levels to explore. So I love all that kind of stuff. Can you remember when you first came across a PM entertainment film and sort of recognized it as, oh, this is a PM entertainment film and I would like to see more PM entertainment films?
Absolutely. Bikini Summer.
Okay.
I remember my parents had a illegal satellite dish. Like,
nice.
Sorry, mom and dad. My mom had bought my dad. This was back when like satellite dishes literally were so huge that they took up the yard.
Yeah.
And so my dad came home from, it was his birthday. I remember that. And my mom was like, we got you a satellite. And he went outside and saw this satellite dish and he was like, oh my God, we got a satellite dish, right? And we had gotten a satellite dish from a company called Bo and Tony's Satellites, which was not legitimate, by the way.
By the way, great name. Bo
so
and Tony.
Much, yeah.
I'm
so
buying
much,
anything that Bo and Tony are selling right off the bat.
So much so that they gave us like all of the channels.
Yeah.
So there was a channel on there and it was called Viewer's Choice. And then there was another channel called Action Pay-Per-View. Action Pay-Per-View would be the very first time I saw I saw, Bikini Summer. It would be the first time I saw hardware, like any kind, Circuitry Man, like any kind of very sort of off the grid, sort of not great films, but just they that was where all of the kind of riffraff ended up, was on Action Pay-Per-View, right? So yeah, I remember seeing Bikini Summer and I ate that up, man. I reenacted scenes from that with my Barbies. Like I thought that Bikini Summer was the greatest thing I'd ever seen. And I have a very soft spot for California at a certain time period, right? Yeah. And so I love seeing like California beaches and California houses and stuff like that. So that is one of those movies that is really at apropos of nothing. Like it doesn't necessarily have like a particular plot to it. It's like, we gotta save the beaches, sort of, right, but not really. Yeah. Like
we're gonna wear bikinis.
We're gonna wear bikinis and fight against environmental pollution and whatever. There's a lot going on. But as a kid, I loved the music and I loved all of it. So that's the first movie I remember kind of going, I really like this. I want to see more. Ring of Fire was when I went, okay, this is a PM movie. Like, this is a PM entertainment film. I recognize it and I can pick it out of a lineup.
Don Wilson has got his shirt off. It's a PM entertainment film. Yeah.
like when this movie popped on, I was like, oh, this is so PM.
Yeah.
This is so PM. I was saying that, and my fiance was like, I have no idea what you're talking about right now, but I'm very excited to find out. So
no, it's great. It's great. And Ring of Fire is another great one. We've talked about it on the show, but like Ring of Fire is really interesting because, again, you get Don the Dragon Wilson, the sort of, international kickboxing star. Mm-hmm. And you put him in essentially sort of a Romeo and Juliet film where it's as much about the romance, if not more so, than it is about the ass kicking.
Yeah, with this amazing Maria Ford, who I love watching. I really feel like she is a criminally underrated performer. And
underused as well, because she should have had a much longer and bigger career.
Amazing dancer, just an amazing person, really like whip smart in real life. Just a really smart chick. So love her, and I could pick out certain actors when I'd seen it, like Bikini Summer, that would show up in other things, right? Like I'd seen David Milburn in other things. I'd seen Melinda Armstrong in other things, and then when Bikini Summer 2 came out, I was so excited. Dude. And then I sat to watch it and I was like, I hate this. I don't like this at all. Like I hated
no, it
the
disappointed you.
Yeah, it really did. It did, because I was like, there's no beach. There's no beach, there's no pool. Like it's
Right.
just, it literally takes place inside of this, rented Malibu house, basically. And God bless Jeff Conaway for having a career. But yeah, the movie itself was just kind of like, this is not good. So but I still had that look to it, and it was great. But yeah,
did Bikini Summer 3 win you back, or?
Bikini Summer 3 is kind of hilarious in a lot of ways. Like there's a great line where one of the girls says to the other girls, she's like, you don't need this Game Boy. There are other men out there. Like I was like, okay, that's amazing. So yeah, Bikini Summer 3, South Beach, whatever. South Beach Heat. Oh my goodness. Yeah, kind of brought it back for me because it was more beachy. It was more beachy, right? And I feel like
South Beach, no less.
Yes, it was very Florida.
One of the few movies directed by frequent cinematographers. So there was two main cinematographers for PM Entertainment, and that was Rick Pepin himself and Ken Blakey. And South Beach Heat, so Bikini Summer 3, one of the very few that Ken actually directed. Because while Rick would also direct a ton as well, and obviously Joseph Mahy wrote and directed a ton, Ken did not direct, like first unit direct. He did a lot of second unit direction and stuff, but and helping out Rick on various movies and things when he needed two cinematographers. But in general, not many directorial films from him, and Bikini Summer 3 is one of those. Nice. So outside of all that, do you have a favorite PM film out of all of them?
I'm gonna honestly say it's this one. It's Cellblock Sisters. I fucking love Cellblock Sisters. This was a first time watch for me. This was one of those, like, I kind of had it in the back of my brain for a while to watch. Then when you mentioned it to me, I was like, okay, I guess we're going to watch it. Because I love Gail Harris. I don't care what she does. I love anything that she does. I watch.
She's fantastic. Our little Yorkshire lass, Gail Harris.
Yeah. And then when I saw the cast, and I was like, oh, Jenna Bodner, like, she never disappoints. And
she's
Annie
great.
Wood.
She's absolutely great.
Then I watched it and I was like, this is entertaining as fuck. Like, this is great. My fiance and I watched it together. We were having a great time. I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I go, I'm gonna, if this ever comes out on Blue, which I mean, I'm not sure if it will, but if it ever comes out on Blu-ray or DVD, like, I will buy it.
Well, I'm glad you did that. That's an excellent segue. It is currently out on DVD. So what's interesting is there is a company, and you may know this, I don't know whether you've gone this far yet, but MVD is putting out what they're calling Skin Max double features.
I'm so happy with okay, so it's funny that you brought this up. MVD did an erotic thriller double feature where there were a couple of DVDs that were put out with just erotic thrillers in them.
So that's what they're doing. There's a whole run of them.
Great. Yeah. Wonderful. I'm glad they're still doing it.
I think there's about 8 or 9 of these double disc movies. It's 2 movies on a disc, right? And it's very much DVD quality. Like, it's not like high-end DVD quality. It's just it's very watchable. I watched it on my big flat screen and it looked absolutely fine. But it's very much DVD quality. What is wonderful, though, for people who just want to get into either Henri Charr stuff or PM Entertainment stuff, because they put out all sorts of things, the Midnight Temptation movies 1 and 2 and various other ones. There's a whole, if you look them up on any DVD seller or DVDdiscount.com or whatever, you should find the whole series. I think there are a couple now that have sold out, but if you look around the internet, you'll find them on eBay or whatever. I think I have 8 of the 10 or something that they've put out.
Ooh,
and
nice.
They're all great. But this one in particular is a Henri Charr double feature. It has Cellblock Sisters and Caged Hearts on it. And in the run up to this, because I always like to kind of know my directors a little bit more, and I know he did My Uncle is an Alien, and I know he did the Under Lock and Key, which I also have, although Under Lock and Key I only have on VHS. I wanted to check out both the movies on this disc. I'd seen Cellblock Sisters before, but I obviously wanted to watch it again to prep for this. But I watched Caged Hearts, and I have to say, if you like Cellblock Sisters, you will love Caged Hearts.
You'll love Caged Hearts.
Yes, Caged Hearts gets a little more Cage Tarts is a little more brutal than Cellblock Sisters in terms of some of the sex scenes. In terms of the violence, I mean, Cellblock Sisters has a lot of violence, has a lot of punching and kicking and that kind of stuff. There's not so much of that in Cage Tarts, but Cage Tarts' whole concept gets very dark in the third act. I'm just gonna say.
Okay, I'm definitely in. I'm definitely in, because when we were watching Cellblock Sisters, like there was a moment where I was like, oh, it's gonna go Born Innocent in a second, and my fiance was just like, ugh, and then it didn't, and I was like, oh, thank God. Okay.
Yeah. No, thankfully, the one thing we don't really have to talk about on this show is, and put a trigger here, but like sexual assault. There isn't too much.
No, this episode is very, or this film rather is pretty tame comparatively, like compared to probably every other women in prison movie that I've seen.
Yeah, I mean it's got all the requisite nudity and all the requisite like kicking and punching, and the occasional shivving, but none of the other stuff. And none of the I always think back to like Jack Hill and Pam Grier's, because that's really the only other women in prison films that I've seen is sort of and Linda Blair's one. What's the Linda Blair one that she did?
Oh, Caged Heat.
Caged Heat, right. Yep. Caged Hearts, Caged Heat.
Caged Heat,
just put the R in there and then you're good to go. But no, apart from those few, I don't really have a huge history of it. But, the Philippine ones can get super weird. They're like dangling snakes over people and doing all sorts of mad stuff. And the Linda Blair one is typically very Linda Blair. But these two, Henri Charr, I think, we'll get into it.
It's the PM Entertainment Bullet Points.
We have motorbike gang bus hijack, party rumble with fisticuffs, kicks to the ribs, and minor stunts like a hillbilly version of a theme park stunt show. Cold-blooded murder with a pistol, woman stabbed with a shiv in prison, violent and of course naked prison shower beatdown, food stand hold-up with a gun, prison yard scrap with multiple brutal punches to the guts and face, kicks, slaps, and all manner of shenanigans, multiple prison guards shot during prison riot sequence, female inmates and female guards shot up, including, tragically, April, more fistfights between May, Gail Harris, and Manny, Jenna Bodner, and Manny shot in forehead. Gratuitous song whose lyrics explain the characters and their journey, Hello to Hollywood. Gratuitous naked female inmates being shouted at by harsh warden and guard scene. Gratuitous and relentless hosing down of inmates. And gratuitous prison interrogation room sex scene. What I've always liked to do, if it's okay with you, Ern, is I like to give the guest the opportunity to give us the plot, to run through the plot.
Okay, fabulous. So it is about two sisters who get separated when they're very, very young. Their mother is a drug addict. Their father, is just a piece of shit. Or I think it's I think it's their stepdaddy, actually. I don't think it's their father.
And I believe that is also Red Horton, the guy who plays Sam, right?
Oh, Sam, yeah. Sam's a piece of garbage. Yes. And they separate these kids. It's funny because like they really want to drive home that they are just destitute, and so both children and mom are covered in soot, like they are Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins, like just everywhere. They're just like, oh, those are some dirty ass kids, so they separate them. One child goes to Los Angeles, the other child is sent to live in England, and then it turns out that the stepdaddy actually sold them, and the mom didn't know. And she starts, she gets angry. She starts, yelling and screaming at him. He immediately starts to abuse her. She hits her head on a rock and dies. 16 years later, our lovely English side of the sister duo, played by Gail Harris, Robin Harris, Gail Thackeray, whatever artist formerly known as you want to call her. She's amazing. She's great in everything she does. I just love Gail Harris anyway. So she shows up at LAX and takes a bus, like a like a crosstown bus. And yeah, that's the thing, is that, you know, she takes this bus and she's talking to this older woman, and the older woman is so motherly and kind to her, and notices that she has a locket. The locket was given to her by her mother, and she kind of remarks, and then all of a sudden a biker gang shows up. And this was, I was like sitting there going like, what is happening right now? But I was here for it. I was totally here for it too.
Well, it's the requisite PM entertainment. If we haven't had action sometime in the first 10 minutes, you better put something in. Otherwise, you know, when this film is not getting off the shelves, you know.
Absolutely. So yeah, the the gang shows up, and we see this, like, she's got like Julie K. Smith's hair, but then Lori Petty's voice, and that is her sister. That is her sister has gone the opposite direction, whereas Gail. Which one is you're gonna have
Annie
to help
Wood,
me.
the biker woman, is April.
April, right? Okay,
and
so yeah.
Gail Thackeray, who is I think going to be a therapist or something. What's so funny is that later on in the movie, Annie Wood, April describes her degree as being completely useless.
Completely useless. I love that so much. And there's one thing I want to kind of point out just to the audience here, is that this screenplay is awesome. Like the dialogue is great. The screenplay is awesome. The storyline's great. I mean, it does have the requisite, you know, nudity and weird, you know, inappropriately timed sex scenes in it. But other than that, this script is great. So,
well, I was going to say, when you were talking about the motherly woman on the bus, I have 4 favorite lines from this movie. And the first favorite line comes from that scene. She says, "Sisters are a tough group to break up. Boys are different. Boys have their own rules, but sisters, they're the best."
They're the best. I love that. And then it's funny because then the bus gets hijacked by these bikers, and the old lady is just disturbingly calm.
Yes. Well, everyone on the bus is just kind of like, this always happens.
Yeah. They're like, welcome to LA.
Welcome to LA. Yeah. Especially when the bus is already taking you up. And I understand they filmed this on a side road. They didn't really film this on a highway or whatever, but you see the bus basically going up a ramp that looks like it hasn't been tended to by city services in many years. There's grass growing through the asphalt and everything.
It was it's a rough area of Los Angeles. And my fiance immediately said, he's like, I wish all robberies were like this.
Yeah.
You know, because it literally, they like hijack the bus, they grab sister off the bus, they put her on the back of a bike, she lets her hair down, they head over to a shack in the middle of the woods, basically. I
do love that when Gail takes out her, and I don't know, those plaits, are they called plaits or whatever they're called? But she takes them out. Her hair is maximum boof.
It's amazing.
It's incredible. It goes right up.
So 90s hair. It's great. She like lets her hair down, and I was like, oh shit, that's her sister. So they go back to this sort of like shack in the woods situation, where honestly, what happens in the next like 5 minutes has to be seen to be believed. But let me paint you a picture. So 2 people are having sex in the inside of the house. Outside of the house, the guys are trying to sort of like, they're like posturing to try to get, you know, May's attention, essentially. And so then a fight breaks out. There's a band playing.
Yes. Playing a song that specifically in its lyrics references the 2 sisters, and one of them coming from England and one of them coming from, and the refrain of the song is "Hello to Hollywood."
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. It's amazing. The guy, the guy that April has sex with literally looks like Kip Winger.
Yeah.
So big shout out. And it's absolutely crazy. So she kind of, you know, she's clearly finished having sex. She comes out and says, you know, hey sis, let's go hang, let's talk for a little bit. And she gives her a leather jacket and she's brought her a Laura Ashley dress. So she puts on the Laura Ashley dress, she puts on the leather jacket, and it's just this kind of, and it reminded me very much of my my podcasting partner, because Hillary is or was at one point in time what they refer to as a bike enthusiast. We don't go any further than that, but she's a bike enthusiast and she's an ex-con. So she knows way more about that life than I do.
Right.
And so it's kind of cool. Like I watched it, I was like, oh, this is so sweet. I love this. They drag this dude out, and when they first dragged this guy out, to be honest with you, I thought that
say about sorry, quickly. I was just gonna say, like, it's so funny because Gail Harris is both going along with this quite normally, as if none of this is bothering her, while also being like quietly judgy. Like there's that great bit when they're swapping clothes, and she sees April has a snake tattoo on her belly or whatever, and she goes, "Oh, disgusting," in a little Yorkshire accent. But then at the same time, she's kind of like, "Yeah, I'll put on a leather jacket and like kick it with the bike." It's like Gail's really trying to get into this, and that's what I loved about it. I'm sorry to interrupt, Erin. Carry on.
No, they were really cool. Like I like their dynamic a lot. I love their dynamic. I love.
Well, they're well cast. They look.
Yeah.
They look great as sisters. They really work well as sisters.
Really fantastic. So they dragged this poor bastard out of his house, and at first I was like, who is that, and why are they doing that? That seems very mean. Clearly haven't seen the inside of a police car, right? That's me. Like I'm
what
definitely
are they doing to this nice old man.
Like, what are they doing, this nice old man? And then she says, this is the guy who killed our mom.
Yeah.
And we realize that yes, without his overalls, it is hard to tell that is in fact Sam. And April just grabs a gun and just starts shooting him. Like, just shoots him a bunch of times. She throws the gun to May. May, plays hot potato with it, and it gets out of her hands. But then decides that she's going to try and save him. However, she tries to save him kind of the way that Bruce Campbell tries to save Scotty in Evil Dead.
Yeah,
like she just shakes the shit out of him. I think
she's traumatized. This is where we see that May is like pretty much traumatized by this event. But what's really traumatizing her is the fact that April shot her before he had the chance to let her know if her mum is buried anywhere. Because yes, she's come to LA to meet her sister, her long lost sister, but she's constantly carried this locket with her mother on it for her whole life. She remembers vividly that her mother said to her as she was putting her in the back of a car, like, I'll come and get you.
I'll come back for you.
The plan was that she was going to get sober, that she was going to get her kids back. She thought it was a government intervention. It was this bastard Sam, who also, it turns out, plot-wise, has been doing heinous things and filming it with April, which is part of April's journey and why she, through trauma, ends up on the wrong side of the tracks, and also filming her robberies and her hijackings and stuff that she does. And Gail she's trying to shake this guy and be like, where's my mother? Where's my mother? We, the audience, know, though, that he just runs away at the beginning. We don't think he goes back for the corpse at all.
I don't think so. Yeah, exactly. No. So she's trying to figure that out. And the biker gang just completely deserts her. And then it's all fun and games till the hot cops show up. Because these cops look like male strippers. Like they slick back hair, just hey, and they're like, oh, you are clearly the murderer of this man. Yeah.
Except main hot cop doesn't think so. Main hot cop has got her back.
That is Dean Howell playing Lieutenant Armand. And he's a pretty guy. He's a very pretty 1990s erotic thriller kind of dude, like very Nick Cassavetes in Sins of Desire. Like they all have a similar look.
Yeah.
So she does get sent to, I didn't know if she was in prison or jail, because it's usually jail first before you get sent off to all the different other places.
Right.
So we'll say prison.
Yeah. And my favorite thing about the detective is that every time he enters a room, every time he tells everyone else to leave the room. Every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's wildly problematic, but apparently not, right? Because
you wouldn't trust him at all if you were his superior. He's like, because if you were a rookie, you would just keep going to your superiors going, is it weird that Detective Armand keeps telling us to leave the room? I mean, we do leave the room because he's our senior, but like he's always alone with the victim or with the suspect. And yeah, it's very weird.
Yeah, it is a very, it definitely seems like it's going to go in a totally different direction, if you will, and not turn into a Skinamax movie. But it does. So May gets sent to jail, prison / she gets sent to the darkest prison / jail. Because I was asking my fiance, ex-con, and I said, I think we've seen enough jail stuff to know that isn't it pretty bright in there? And he's like, it's always bright in there. He goes, I don't know what happened here. He goes, but this jail, he did point this out. This jail / prison has been in a lot of movies. He mentioned something involving George Romero. He mentioned Natural Born Killers. He was saying that he's like, I've seen this in some, in some of the movies.
I'm trying to think which Romero movie has a lot of prison stuff in it.
Don't ask, because he's the Romero expert, and he is behind closed doors right now. So all
good. No, I just watched the whole slew of Romero that I'd only ever seen like once or twice, and I was just trying to see if it was in any of those, but I don't think so.
Yeah. So so she gets sent to jail. They're all wearing little blue dresses, which I know is definitely not accurate. And we meet kind of our head bitch. We meet the head bitch, which is Manny.
Yeah.
Jenna Bodner, who sounds like Tom Waits gargling hot asphalt.
Yes.
She has a cigarette whiskey stained voice. She's just a very like evil type character, right? And
we get my next two favorite lines. So in the initial interrogation between the detective and May, Gail Harris, when they're in that first room and he's trying to get her to talk, and she's not talking, she's not saying anything, she doesn't want to give up her sister, he's trying to get her to talk. He says, who did you lose? We all know loss. I know loss too. And then this comes into play later on in the second interrogation scene we get with them. But I love the sort of enigmatic overtones of that particular scene. And then, as you say, when we're outside in the lineup before they actually go into prison, and May first meets Manny, played by the absolutely fantastic Jenna Bodner. She says this great line. She goes, because we're all family in there. Inside there, you better know where you belong before they shut them doors, because there ain't no place to find yourself. That's like, you don't just put that in a B movie. Like, that's someone who sat there and gone, I need a kick-ass line right here, and I'm going to give it to an actress who delivers it flawlessly. And the combination of Henri Charr's directing, him and Jess Mancilla, is it Mancilla? Yeah, writing, and the wonderful Jenna Bodner acting, put those three things together, and that line to me pops. I just thought it was absolutely fantastic. I'm like, you know, because there ain't no place to find yourself in prison. I just thought that's a great line. That's a Tom Waits line. That's a great line.
It's really, like I said, it has no business being this good.
Right.
None, absolutely none. And then, like in, Cellblock Life is Cellblock Life, like Manny stabs a chick to try to, I don't even know why she stabs her, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know if she stabs her because it's a gang thing, or if she stabs her because she's just trying to like curry favor with. Right.
She says she's only in for like, and it's funny, Manny seems to be someone who comes back and forth between the prison. There's clearly drug running or maybe sex trafficking or something going on. with her gang. It's also really interesting, right? Because it is a world in which, although there are plenty of male bikers, it is a world in which Annie Wood and Jenna Bodner run their own gangs. Like they are heads.
Yep.
These are female-driven heads of their own gangs. And while I don't know whether you call that feminist or not, it's certainly different than, sort of male-driven gangs that women are working for and oppressed by, rather than here where it's sort of female-driven gangs. Right down to the point where, like, literally the fight breaks out at the party because the bikers don't want to upset April. They're like, don't go near April's sister because she'll fuck you up, And so there's all these big burly guys with leather jackets and bikes and stuff beating the hell out of each other because they don't want to piss off April, which I just think is, I fucking love that. I think that's absolutely fantastic. But similarly with Manny, she's running this thing and she says, I'm only going to be in for a short time. I've got to clean some stuff up, do some house cleaning.
Yep.
And then later we find out from April that she's also trying to recruit as well. So she's sort of in there to find stuff out, right?
Exactly. So she's doing that, and May is just trying to live, man. She's surviving.
Hanging out with Flo.
Taking showers, having shower fights. Like
shower
you do.
Fights, yeah. Well, because basically the crux of it is that she's seen the murder. Jenna Bodner Manny knows she's seen the murder, and then she becomes worried. What is May gonna do? That's kind of the setup.
Yeah, and then April ends up. This is okay. So this was funny because the scene where April and April's gang decide to rob a burger stand. My fiance and I just watched The Cheerleaders, 1977, 6. What are those ones? I think, and which is like an exploitation drive-in theater.
Is it a Corman? The Corman one?
No, kind of dirty, but kind of not. But they have a burger stand in it that is identical to the one in this movie. And I was sitting there going, I'm like, I wonder if they shot it in the same place, like Los Angeles. Like, so. Yes, they go to this burger stand and they rob them, and then she gets put into jail. Which
because she says, I will only get caught if I want to get caught. She realizes that May is probably having a hell of a time in prison. In fact, she goes to see her, right, in disguise.
And she goes to see her in disguise. She's got this great black wig on and sunglasses, and she's really funny. And she says, okay, who's in there with you? And she's like, well, my roommate. And she's like, your cellmate. Or as my podcasting partner called my cellie.
Yeah.
My cellie and my wife. That's how she put it. My wife and my cellie, right? She's like, okay, that's your cellmate. Yeah. And she's like, but these other girls are, there's Manny, and she's like, yep, Manny and Rosetta, I know who they are. Okay. So she kind of knows, like, okay, I have to get thrown in here. So
right. You need protection, I think, is the last thing she says to her as she leaves.
Yeah. So that's exactly what happens. She gets in there, and they kind of,
because they're Cellblock Sisters. Banished behind bars.
Cellblock Sisters. And then the warden, who is, wow. I mean, if dinner theater was like personified, she is a really terrible actress.
Christy Engel.
Yeah, Christy Engel. This is a one and done too. She didn't do anything else.
No.
She is she kind of shows up occasionally and like says a bunch of lines, and I my fiance was like, yeah, that's how they talk to you in jail. Like they would say stuff like to him, they would be like, lights out, and if there's any problems, I'm coming back and I'm skull fucking the lot of you. And it's like, oh my god.
Wow.
Right? Like, so that is true. That is, wardens do say things like, and if you fight or you get out of line, I'm going to slit both your throats. Like,
so my long-held belief that prison doesn't actually do anything of any use is actually well-founded then.
100%. 100%. So, yeah. So she gets thrown in there.
It certainly doesn't rehabilitate. That's what
she ends up having a second meeting with Lieutenant Daddy.
Yes.
She gets to have a second meeting with Lieutenant Armand, and what's funny about this was that I I kind of knew where this was going because
Yes.
he was just like, yeah, leave us and lock the door.
Yes.
And you know, and I was like, well, this could either turn into John Vernon in Caged Heat, which means it's really bad, or this is a mutual attraction and they're gonna consummate this bad boy. So he brings her locket and she's like, oh my god, my locket, you got it back. And my next words out of my mouth were, clearly you have to fuck him.
Yes. But at least she initiates it. She does say, kiss me. Even though he's given off the vibes, she at least you know, consents before. It's not him being a sleazy detective.
No, absolutely not. It's this like mutual attraction.
Attraction society
that they have. And then they do indeed have, you know, crazy simulated sex in the sex interrogation room.
Yes, up against the wall of which must be like, of all the places, first of all, the room is not giving you a lot of places as options, but like all the places, the peeling paint, hard, cold wall of the prison interrogation room, not my first choice. I would have taken the desk or the chair over either of those positions.
Yeah. The lighting in this movie reminded me of a Corman 90s film. Like, it very much reminded me of Striptease, or it reminded me of any of those, like Angel in Red or one of those. Like, it was everything is so dimly lit.
Well, what I love about the cinematography in this, and it follows through into Caged Hearts as well, which is also shot really, really nicely, is that it's interesting, right? Because I think on one hand, it's the low budget B movie guys trying to emulate Hollywood, right? So we have to have lots of shadow, we have to have lots of light, we have to have lots of contrast, we have to have lots of different feels to this. It also, low budget at this time in the 90s, benefits from the fact that everyone is shooting on 35 mil, whether you're a cheapie or not. So therefore everything looks like film and looks really rich and gorgeous because of that. But also what's fascinating to me about it is that as overblown and as and I think wonderfully I think stunning looking and evocative as PM Entertainment cinematography and Henri Charr's cinematography, although he doesn't do the cinematography, but I just mean his movies have great cinematography in them, is that ultimately when you get a Cheesemeister duo like Simpson and Bruckheimer, who are making these sort of cheesy blockbusters on a huge level, whether that's The Rock or Con Air or whatever it is, their movies, although obviously with a much higher gloss and a higher grain and a higher everything else, but their movies are basically shot very much like these B movies are shot in concept, maybe not in execution, but in concept. It's shadows, it's beams of light hitting just certain things. It's bright golden yellow hues when you're outside and deep rich blue hues inside. And you watch stuff like The Rock or Con Air, and it could, yes, it's one step up because it's a big Hollywood production, but like, considering they're spending under $1 million on a movie like this, and Con Air's blowing 200 million or whatever it's blowing at that time, I think this looks pretty good, you know?
Yeah, no, it is really beautifully photographed. And so, meanwhile, Gail still won't give up her sister. Like, she's still, you know, even after getting the good D from the detective, she won't do it. So, well,
the one thing she knows is keep your mouth shut. She's not giving up Maddie, and she's not giving up April.
Right. So Lieutenant Daddy goes to the biker house, and Kip Winger is sitting there in a chair, you know, like a mess.
But by the way, the biker house that has just died without April's presence.
No, they're not a maid to be found.
Well, not just that, but he is just depressed in a chair. That's it. Yeah, he is just depressed in a chair. That's it. Giving up the life. He's
super sad. He misses his girl, you know. And okay, so when Lieutenant walks in and he tells the guy, he's like, "Yeah, you guys, you know, go take 5."
Everyone has to leave whenever this left walks.
Right. I was like, oh, and then when he kind of puts his feet up on the table and they're talking, I went to my fiance. I said, oh, wouldn't it be cool if they were brothers? Like, they had gone different directions, but they were brothers, and then they were going to help each other. And then I was like, yep, couldn't start too soon. It's not going to happen. So he basically says, look, like, if you give up April, then, you know, you can go visit her anytime you want and have conjugal visits or whatever.
Yeah. He promises multiple. He's like frequent multiple
visits. and he says, I know, and he says you can visit her liberally. And
liberally.
I'm like,
wow.
That's
the word. Yeah.
so and he's still just like, no, it's not happening. But then this is my favorite plot point in the whole film. But then he does produce April's videotape collection. And he says, everything that you need is on these videotapes, up to and including what her stepfather used to do to her at age 11, you know? And the cop goes, okay, so I'll be taking the child porn and the murder tape, and then the rest of this, you can just burn it. Take care.
Well, because this cop knows that he might be able to clear her or at least reduce her sentence if there is just cause as to why she would be temporarily insane enough to shoot it.
Those two tapes will prove it, right? A reasonable whatever. So then meanwhile, back at the jail, back in Cellblock C, Jenna Bodner / Manny is like, I've got a plan. She's like, first, and then she finds out this incredibly beautiful woman comes to see her and says, there's a chick here with a British accent and she's her sister. And it's like, what? You know, like she didn't figure it out. Like she goes, it's her sister, you know?
Yeah. They're not just Sallys, they're sisters.
They're sisters. And so she's like, oh my God, I have an idea. You know, so her idea essentially is to stage a prison riot and then get the guards distracted. And that's going to be her moment to kill lovely Miss Gail and Gail's sister at this point.
And her plan to distract the guard is to just shoot them all in the chest repeatedly.
I love the fact that the doorway to the prison it is like a clown car of guards. And every single time a guard walks out of the doorway, she shoots them.
It was my favorite. There are so many. There's a couple of like Naked Gun level jokes in here. One is the fact that every time he goes into the room, he clears the room. That's such a running gag. They have to have known, right? And then the scene where the guards keep running out that side door and she just keeps shooting them in the chest. I'm like, after 3, wouldn't you just be like, all right, I ain't going out there? Like,
yeah, it would be like, I don't think it's a good idea. So yeah, they just keep shoot. They end up in the boiler room, shooting around very highly flammable tanks, you know?
Yeah.
And then at one point there is a there's a call from the governor. No, but there's a call from Lieutenant Daddy. He's like, oh, you know, he's like, she doesn't need to be there. I'm sending you a fax, by the way, which has the most gorgeous photo of Annie Wood on it. Like, when it's printing out, you're like, good Lord.
Yes.
Especially on a fax.
Wanted.
Really? Like,
wanted. This smoke show.
This sexy woman with this amazing lip liner, she is in trouble, right? So she gets out, she's like, I got a situation, I gotta go. So cop's on his way to the prison. Warden is now trying to figure out why the jail has, why there's been a jailbreak. Thank you, Thin Lizzy.
She's trying to subdue the easiest riot. Like, it took them no effort to get this riot. Like, it was just, well, we've got to kill a couple of guards. Well, fine, let's just kill some guards and get on with it. Like, the riot is so easy. Like, you wonder why Manny hasn't done it before and just taken over the prison and used it as her own private,
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just ridiculous. And then eventually she does end up shooting. She ends up shooting April. April dies rather immediately.
Yeah, that's the one thing that makes me sad about this movie, because they set up the tapes, because you see that there's a way that she would at least get a reduced sentence.
Yes.
The cop is on her side, and you've invested so much time in May and April, like, being together, being sisters. And you also know, and this should give you the clue, obviously, anyone who's a fan of like a setup where the lead actor goes, I'm going to get out. I'm going to get out of the drugs. I'm going to get out of the
course,
crime. I'm going to get out of the thing. She's obviously dead by the end of the movie. That's how this works. But
right.
It still makes me sad because I still want to see the movie where it ends, where her and her sister have set up like a bake shop together and or whatever it is. I mean, I don't know why I picked bake shop, but whatever. They've set up some kind of business together, and they're having a gay old time in Los Angeles, and everything's fantastic. And hottie detective comes over occasionally, and biker, guy comes over occasionally. But apart from that, they're just sisters together, killing it in the small business world. That's like how I want the movie to end.
Which would have been amazing. And unfortunately, Annie Wood goes down like a sack of potatoes. And now
not even a vital organ, like a shoulder.
No, it looks like a shoulder shot. Yeah, like I don't know. So then at this point, May then it turns into chick boxer. Yes. Like she literally starts kickboxing Maddie, and then Maddie,
it's the final straw. May is ready for retribution because she has been. Gail Harris gets punched in the gut / lower stomach multiple times.
A lot.
So you wait the whole film for Manny to get her just gut punches.
And then she gets on top of her and she's like, you want me to kill you? And Jenna Bodner is like, yeah, just do it. And, of course, Gail, being the completely adorable, sweet, good-natured girl that she is, May takes the knife and then brings it down next to her face, and she's like, you're not worth it, you piece of shit. And then she gets up, and at that moment I was like, shouldn't have done that.
No.
Jenna Bodner whips around, grabs her, takes her by surprise, and then it's Lieutenant Hottie. He's there, and he shoots her in the head. He shoots her he gets like a headshot.
Yes, right in the head. Yeah.
And then the warden shows up, and the warden's like, "Don't just stand there. Do something. Get the ambulance."
Well, because she's lost 12 guards. Like they're just strewn about.
A lot of guards are dead.
Guards are just strewn about, including we lose the wonderful guard Oregon, who is such an oddly named Agent Oregon or whatever her name is.
She's cool. I like her too. So
she was.
So then,
well, you see, her and Officer Oregon, Anita Lynn, who plays Officer Oregon, and Christy Engel, they're only in this movie. But part of me wishes they'd kind of swapped roles.
Oh,
because Anita Lynn at least has the sort of angry, dark-haired look about her. She's like a little angry, and she can do the shouty much better. Whereas Christy Engel is a little bit, weak toes. She could be
a little bit, yeah.
But no, I mean, still, I thought Anita Lynn was great in this, even though it's a one and done for her. I thought she was great too. I thought all the cast, apart from obviously the warden or whatever, but even she's fine. She sort of passes what she passes the time in what she needs to do. She's only in a couple of major scenes, but fantastic. Anyway, let's bring it home. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, and then we get a little walking hand in hand. She's got her locket back. Things are good. She's probably gonna. Oh, I love the fact that he signs her over the warden signs her over to his care, you know, and I was like, that's 18 different shades of creepy.
Yeah, you'll be coming home to my compound where I'll be. Yeah.
I know. I was like, oh God, I'm glad they're in love,
Where I have all the women that I've saved over the last.
Absolutely. I don't think this is this first cat at, his time at the rodeo, so to speak. So
I'm surprised there's not a Cellblock Sisters 2, detectives enclosure or something.
I feel like there should be, though, because hell, if they can make a midnight tease too, for God's sakes, man, they can make I think they can do a Cellblock Sisters Part 2. But yes, that is it. You have been watching Cellblock Sisters.
Yes, I know. So the last line is fantastic. He says, we could use a therapist in Los Angeles. And she says, we could use a detective in England. And he's like, do you not have any detectives in England? And she's like,
no, apparently.
Not like you.
Not as hot as you.
But someone will, not someone who every room he walks into, he's like, you better get out of here and lock the door. I might have sex with someone.
That's right. I'm here to bed everyone in this room. Yeah. Oh my God.
But no, look, thank you thank you for the plot synopsis. A fantastic film, I think. Lots to endear it. All right, we've got to the point in the show where we have our interview. And this time round, it is absolutely phenomenal to bring you this conversation with Annie Wood, who plays one of the two protagonists in this movie, one of the two sisters, April. And she gets into filming this movie, working with Gail Thackeray, also known as Gail Harris, also known as Robin Harris. We also talk about working with Henri Charr, who she did both on this movie, Caged Hearts, and a later 2006 film that Henri Charr made called Heart of Fear. We get into all of that and a lot more with Annie Wood. So if you are enjoying this podcast, if you're enjoying our guests and our interviews, and you want to hear more and more and more, you want to watch more and more and more, well, obviously, please, the first thing you can do, and it's completely free to do so, is go over to Apple Podcasts and rate and review us, rate and review us, rate and review us. You can also rate us on Spotify and plenty of other platforms. You can also go subscribe to YouTube. And on YouTube, I'm not only posting the episodes, but I'm also posting a ton of videos about collecting PM on VHS, one-off video reviews of various different movies by PM Entertainment, some information about like City Lights Entertainment, and all sorts of stuff on YouTube. So go subscribe to us there. I'm putting tons of stuff up there every single week as I get more and more edited. So please subscribe there. Please rate and review us. Please support the podcast in any way possible. I'm not monetizing it right now, so everything I'm asking for shouldn't cost you anything. And so please support the show so we can continue to do it and continue to get more and more guests involved. Anyway, enjoy this interview. Obviously, between the interview, there'll be a few adverts as we have to kind of put in commercials per Spreaker, who hosts the podcast. So if you want to fast forward those, please go ahead and fast forward them. We don't endorse any of the adverts you're about to hear and apologize for even having to have them on the show. It just is the nature of the beast this day and age when you are podcasting. So it is what it is. All right. Enjoy this interview. It's absolutely fantastic. We had a great time with Annie. And then listen to us wrap up the rest of the podcast with the wonderful guest, Erin. Thanks so much for listening. Annie, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, as I was saying, and thrilled to get to talk Cellblock Sisters Banished Behind Bars.
Yes.
With you, which I have on, lest you doubt me, I have it on VHS.
Fantastic.
And the DVD, which you posted about.
That's right, because that's new, right? Or is
no. So this company, this is MVD, but they're putting out a range that they're calling sort of Skin Max, which is sort of a range of erotic thrillers. And yeah, they did a double bill that happened to have both the Henri Charr movies you did. So
yes,
it's fantastic.
I should get that.
Yeah, you should get that. They didn't send you a copy?
No, I don't have a DVD player, but I should get it just to, like, I don't know, look at the cover, I guess.
Yeah, no. Well, the Cellblock Sisters is also the VHS of this you can find on eBay quite a lot as well. So I collect all the ones that PM Entertainment put out on VHS. So and I love because I've got all the ones with the PM logo on them and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's how I came across it. So
let me ask you something. Is PM still around? I haven't.
No. So Rick and Joseph, who made up PM, they were sort of the business guys and the creatives behind the company. They started out with a company called City Lights in the mid 80s.
Oh.
That ran till sort of the end of the 80s, early 90s. It was kind of a crossover as more movies came out while they were closing down that business, because the partner they went into business with kind of messed with them. So they were like, fine, let's cut and run from that guy and go set up our own thing, which was PM Entertainment. And they made movies, distributed movies, exec produced movies for about 12 or 13 years as PM. They ran till about 2000. Their last few movies came out 2000, 2001, 2002, just the last few. And yeah, it's an unusual story because normally normally if you're going to do something like that, you kind of retain the rights, right? So even if you stop making movies, you kind of retain the rights just to, well, they didn't. They sold everything off wholesale. So although Joseph, I've spoken to Joseph and Rick before. Rick sadly passed. I didn't know if you knew, but Rick passed last year.
Oh,
And I got to talk to both of them, and I talk to Joe quite regularly now. And yeah, it was just a case that they sort of felt burnt out, and they sort of felt that they had done everything they wanted to do.
right.
They couldn't believe that they kind of got away with it as long as they did.
For so long, yeah.
Yeah, well, because
More
they
than a
kind of,
decade. Yeah.
yeah, they kind of saw themselves as these kind of like scrappy kind of have a go guys. Whereas I think when you go back and watch the movies that they either that they made themselves or ones that they
Yeah.
distributed, I think there's actually a ton of artistry in them. I think there's a ton
Sure.
of interesting scripting and creativity. I think they worked with great actors, and the sort of careers they were able to give people, both in the stunt world and in the action world,
Yes.
and other, was quite phenomenal. So I look
Yeah.
at it with hindsight far more reverently than they did.
Right, than they do. Well, it's different. It's different when you're in it.
Yeah,
How you look at things. But I like that you mentioned the stunt people because uh there's a lot of great stunts in
yes,
a lot of these.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah,
love watching stunts. The stunt guys on Cellblock Sisters uh were fantastic. The gang, the biker gang.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Their fight scenes. I mean, it's like when you watch one being done, it's this beautiful dance, you know,
Oh
and
yeah, completely.
and the way they communicate when they do the stunts, I loved that. Like they have to constantly communicate so no one gets hurt, to know where everyone's coming from. So the communication and the dance of it all, I loved watching those fight scenes.
Yeah, no, fantastic. And you had, I think it was Jim Baker you had as the stunt coordinator, and James Ent, I think, were the two stunt coordinators.
I remember Red. He
Oh,
went by
Red
Red.
was,
I loved him. He was great. I don't remember who, but one of the guys, there's a scene in Cell Block Sisters where I have the gun on the guy that abused me, and I'm like circling him and I'm saying whatever I'm saying. I can't remember now, but it's like this emotional, intense scene, and all the bikers are surrounding, and one of the biker stunt guys cried. And afterwards, he said to me, like, there was a personal connection with abuse and stuff, and he was so touched by that. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So
yeah.
to your point of what you said about these movies, that there's artistry, there's artistry in
Oh,
everything. And in this moment, someone really connected, and it mattered.
oh, 100%. And yeah, Red Horton plays yours and Gail's
Oh,
terrible stepfather, or
yes. Oh, he
atrocious
was
abusive
bad. Oh,
stepfather.
did I kill him? Is that who I killed his
That's who
kid?
you kill. Yeah, Red
Oh,
Horton plays. Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. And I
Thank
know
you.
he's a stunt guy as well, but in this, I think,
Yes,
I mean, he probably did some stunts, but
he
on this,
did.
he was mainly as hired as an actor, I think.
He did.
Uh,
Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
he
yeah,
was
yeah.
great. He's great. Red's
Yeah, no,
great.
Red Horton's fan. He goes way back as well with the PM guys and lots of people. But
Okay.
no, I've often thought that B movies, exploitation movies, whatever people want, a genre film, whatever they want to
Yeah.
give, there's a
Yeah.
hundred different words that they give them. But I actually think when you watch them with some seriousness, not that they're not entertaining and not that they're not
Right.
joyful or fun or exploitive, but
Right.
if you watch them with some seriousness, those movies, horror movies are the same, sci-fi movies are
Yes.
the same.
Yes.
They touch on far more human subjects, especially like the taboo human subjects,
Uh-huh.
than
Uh-huh.
any Hollywood movie ever has. And I feel
Yeah.
like when you look at, for example, the African American movies that were made at the beginning of the 70s that sort
The
of get
the
called
black
blaxploitation,
exploitation.
but
Yeah.
when you go back and watch them, the subjects they're tackling and the things that they're talking about are
Are
so
real.
ahead
Yeah.
of their time and so
Mm.
real. And a lot of people credit those filmmakers in the 90s with a lot of that, talking about their urban environment and so on. But I think it starts with Pam Grier and Fred Williamson and those guys doing the
Sure.
work in the 70s.
Sure.
So I'm a big movie nerd, and I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of all this.
You're a true appreciator.
Yes, I try.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful.
how did you sort of get started in acting, and what kind of drew you to that profession originally?
Uh, actually, not one thing did, because I say that I came in this way because I don't remember ever not wanting it. And there's a story that in my family, a friend of the family saw me when I was 3 years old, put my hand over the TV, over Carol Burnett's face, and I said, "I'm going to be in the TV," and that was it.
Lovely.
And that was it. And what's funny is that TV was always my main focus, which was strange back in the day because most actors wanted to be movie stars, but I really wanted to be on TV. And I ended up having my own show in the 90s, which was a dating game show that I hosted. So I did have that come true.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I've just
Fantastic.
always wanted it. And I've always written as well. I'm also a writer and an artist, but
Yeah.
acting was definitely that was the thing. Like I just came in knowing. Yeah.
Well, you have great energy on screen. You have a great persona on screen, great energy on
you.
screen, and it was definitely one of those things like watching the movie that your central performance, I think, absolutely elevates the film. I think it adds so much to it, so many different layers, because you get to do comedy, you get to do immense hurt and abuse, you get to do
Yeah.
action, you get to do
Right.
wild child, like you get to kind of play
Yeah.
all these different notes throughout the movie, and yeah, you're just very compelling and very watchable.
Oh, thank you. Well, I appreciate
Fantastic
that.
in the
Thank you
film.
so much.
Um,
And you're right about the character. The character was a lot of fun.
yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah.
a lot of
Um,
layers to that. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. No, there's lots to April that I want to kind of get
Yeah.
into and unpeel if we can. But you first worked with PM on The Last Riders with Eric Estrada, which I watched last night. Um,
I don't know if you would be able to see me. Also, I had long dark hair, and I was, very
I
young.
think you're in a couple of the group scenes, and then there's one scene where it cuts to whatever specific biker you're on the sort of
Yes,
back of his bike with, and
yes.
you're sort of in that scene in there. But how did you first come across that? Were you just sort of working in kind of low budget movies at that time and just sort of came across PM, or were you aware of them in some way?
No, I was not aware of them, and as a teen, one way to kind of get onto movie sets and like kind of learn the biz was to be an extra.
Yeah.
And you can get paid, which is nice. So you get paid and you are on set, and if you pay attention and kind of watch how movies are made and what things are going on, it's a great education. And I ended up doing that. And then when you become union and you get featured extra roles, the pay is much better. And it's like a job. And that's always exciting because it's a different thing each time. So I was a professional extra for a few years there, I would say, as a teen, because I emancipated myself when I was 16 in order to work and I hated school. That's the whole thing. So from like teen to like 22 or 23, something like that. That was my job. I did that, and then I also was acting, but that was very regular to do the extra work. So I was a featured extra in The Last Riders, and I remember we did some still photos, and I was on the back of Eric Estrada's motorcycle to take photos,
Yeah.
and that was very fun. So I don't know, maybe there's still photos somewhere of me on the back of his bike. I don't know, I never saw
Oh,
it.
quite possibly. I don't know who
Yeah.
took them, whether that was Rick Pepin. I mean, he was the cinematographer and the producer, but I don't
Ah,
know if he also took the still photos. Probably. I mean, back then they didn't have huge crews back then. That was,
right.
that was fairly early in PM.
They must have had some money because I remember them closing off part of Sunset Boulevard, and that had to have been very expensive.
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
it was
unless
late in the night.
unless they did it without permits, which they did a lot of stuff back then without
I
permits.
think
So,
this would have been hard because it was a
yeah,
lot. It was, I don't know. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
And maybe it was a different movie and I'm confusing, but there was
No, but
part
maybe
of
Eric
Sunset.
Estrada was able to
Oh,
pull
that's
some
right.
strings. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. It was a section of Sunset Boulevard, and I imagine that's a pretty penny to
Yeah, yeah,
block
yeah,
off.
probably.
Yeah, but that was
Yeah.
fun. I liked that.
No, I mean, I think probably Estrada was probably a big get for them at the
Right.
time. So
Yeah.
they had him, and Lawrence Hilton Jacobs was doing a lot of work with them as well from Welcome
Okay.
Back, Kotter. He was doing a lot of stuff for PM
Oh,
at the time. So
okay. Okay.
um, So did you get a sense, I mean, obviously you were, as you say, a featured extra, but did you get a sense of kind of how PM was working? Any sense about Joseph Mehy as a director or Rick as a cinematographer, or
No,
just any
not
kind of sense about PM as a company?
not
Not really?
no, definitely
No.
not then. I mean, I was, like
Yeah.
I said, a teenager just trying to, enjoy and learn about, the movie industry,
Yeah.
and happy to be working. And it's,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Cool.
no, I didn't know anything about them then. In fact, I haven't even thought about PM until you.
Yeah.
So, I was like, oh yeah, I have done a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And there's probably ones that are not on your IMDb that you sort of did extra work for,
Yeah,
probably. I
oh,
don't
for
know.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe.
And then so after that, so PM started distributing movies with the director, and I don't know, does he? Because his first name is obviously spelt sort of the French way. On does he pronounce it Henri Charr
No,
or
Henry,
Henry Charr?
Henry
He goes
Charr,
Henry
Henry.
Charr. Okay.
Yeah,
So I just asked because sometimes with
yeah.
the pronunciation.
Henry.
But you appeared in two Henry Charr films that PM distributed.
Three. Oh, two. Okay, yeah.
That
Sorry.
they
Yeah,
distributed and
yes,
executive produced. Yeah, I know
yes,
you were in.
yeah.
Were
Hard of
you in the
fear.
third Women in Prison movie as well, the Lock and Key one, or no?
No, no, I was
Oh,
in Heart of Fear. That's when it was not a women in
he
prison.
transitioned to
He
sort of.
transitioned, and this was more of a thriller. I
Okay.
played a detective.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I didn't. Why did my research not
Oh,
come up with that?
because Heart of Fear, I guess, is not PM. Was
No,
it?
it's not. No, but I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Henry
Oh,
Charr separately as
oh,
well, so
okay.
I
Oh,
should look
yeah.
that up as well. So
Check out
definitely.
Heart
Yeah,
of
yeah,
Fear.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm the lead in that one, and that's the last film I did with him.
Oh, okay. And so
2000.
okay, that's great. I hadn't realized that then. I'll have to track that one down as well then. Because as I say, I love your performances and I love his direction. And I think actually, I think he's one of those guys, and you'll have to tell me if I'm wrong, but he seems like one of those guys who, even though, as I say, he's working in genre film
Yeah,
and with low budgets, he makes the movies look like movies. There's some low
yeah,
budget movies that look like low budget movies and you
that's
still
right.
love them, but
That's
he
right.
he makes movies look like movies
That's right. I
even
think
on a
that he
budget.
cares. I think he really cares.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, he cares about the films he's making for sure. And you're right about that because I remember I wish I rewatched Cell Block Sisters before this. I should have. I don't know why I didn't. But I do remember the last time I saw it that the cinematography and some of those like on the bike and going up like there's some good stuff.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. It's beautifully shot
Yeah.
and pretty well edited. And there's even one. There's a scene in it. It's between Gail and her cellmate, and I'm gonna forget the actor's name right now. Maybe it was Jamie Donahue. I think that's Flo. I think that's her
Okay.
cellmate in the movie. Before you kind of go into
Yeah.
the prison and
Right.
help her out. There's a great there's a walk and talk where they come out of the prison and they walk all the way around kind of that workout yard that they
Yeah.
had where you
Yes.
guys have the fight later on in the movie. But there's a whole walk and talk where she's sort of telling Gail how she's in prison and da 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 da. It's incredibly well written, incredibly well acted. You never see a one shot like a one like
Yeah.
that in B movies. And you sort of watch it, and I'm sort of, it's like an Aaron Sorkin scene or
Yeah,
something. It's
right.
great.
That's amazing. Now that you mention it, I do remember that. I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just,
Love that,
sometimes you get so used to watching these movies, and then you see a scene like that, and you're like, oh, okay, he's really trying something.
Yes.
Like even if it's as I say, within the realm of genre film, he's still
Right.
really trying and stuff. So yeah, you worked with Henry a lot then. So what kind of director was he, both in terms of storytelling, but also for the actors?
Yeah. Let's see. So the first time was on Caged Heart. And so I remember once I don't know why, but I ended up not eating with everyone else. I guess I was looking for a moment to myself. I was not the lead in that. I just had a scene in
Yeah.
that. I guess I was just one of the women in prison. And so I ended up walking into a trailer and eating my lunch, and it was his trailer.
Oh,
So
okay.
he walks in, and I'm like, "Oh, the director's oops." And he's like,
Yeah.
"No, no, it's okay, it's okay." And we had this kind of really great just talk about movies and about things. And I think that's why he remembered me and called me in to audition for Cellblock. And his wife, who had a great eye for actors and all sorts of things. His wife, a year or whatever it was later, said, "What about Annie from blah blah blah?" And it was because she said something to him that I got the next film. So
Yeah.
yeah, his wife had played a great role in seeing, deciding what was talent and
Yeah.
that.
Oh, and
Yeah,
fantastic that they had that kind of creative
yeah.
partnership as well as a personal partnership.
Yeah. He was, I think he's a sensitive director. I think
Yeah.
he's like you can see him thinking like I'm making this face right now. Like
Right, right, right.
you could see him thinking and really weighing things like what's really going on in this scene. And he also let me be.
Yeah.
So which is also great.
Yeah, no, of course. Well, that's what I mean is your performance comes across as very natural, which can either be something where, as you say, a director has let you put a lot of yourself in the character,
Yeah.
or it can just be where an actor is so phenomenally good that they make it look like it's very naturalistic when actually it's sort of
You
very
know,
thought
they,
about.
yes, and they say there's this saying or this idea that a lot of this what we see in the end starts with casting. So
Right.
you already cast someone who fits what you're going for,
Right.
and they show you that in the room, and that's part of your work is done
Oh
there.
yeah, completely. And I feel sometimes, not all the time, but more recently in movies, you tend to get this thing where did they write a character or did they just hire an actor who has a shtick and they just put his or her shtick in the movie?
Uh-huh.
And it gets a little like I watch movies sometimes and I go, I don't know who this character is anymore. Like I know it's Leonardo DiCaprio or it's whoever played
Right.
the part, and I don't know why I picked him out, but anyone, I mean Ryan, whoever. But he's just playing a part, and you watch it, and you go, "All right, yeah, he was very good at being Leonardo DiCaprio, but I'm not sure kind of what the role was, right?" So,
Right.
whereas in Cellblock Sisters, obviously, I think April and May have this great backstory, right? So they
Yes.
have this sort of backstory full of trauma, but also separation, and she's gone off and had her life in England, and you've gone off and had your life in California, and they've gone different ways, obviously, because you're this wild child with a biker gang and everything else, and she's
He's
about to be a
posh.
therapist, all prim and
Yes.
proper and whatever,
Yes.
from England.
He's posh spice, and I'm
Yes.
what spice am I?
I don't know,
What was
crazy.
it?
I don't know,
I don't know
biker
either.
spice, biker spice. I don't
Spicy
know.
spice.
Yeah, spicy, just spicy in general. The two things that struck me is first of all, the movie doesn't bother to do that terrible thing of having needless conflict between you and Gail's character May.
That's right.
Even though obviously the way you meet her at the airport on the bus and your biker gang take over
Yes.
the bus and you drag her out the bus or whatever,
That was dramatic.
yeah,
Yeah.
she goes with it. Like even though she's meant to be this prim and proper English woman, when you say, take down your hair or whatever, she takes down her hair and gets on the back of a bike and
Yeah.
away you go. So first of all, there's this wonderful, from the very moment you guys are on screen together, there's that great sisterly energy and chemistry there. But also the fact that you, as April, are essentially the leader of this bike gang, this sort of male-heavy bike gang.
Right.
Right away, you've got a situation, and I always sound ridiculous, I guess, to some people when I say that a woman in prison movie can actually be feminist, but in a way, there's sort of some feminism.
That moment. Yes,
bring
what you just
in
said.
there. Right.
In what you just said. In fact, I was meant to ride the bike and not be on the back of the bike. And I learned that my best friend at the time, Jules, he taught me how to ride a motorcycle. And I had learned to ride a motorcycle for the movie.
Yeah.
And I even was going to buy one. I was into it. And then as I was going up in the canyons out here riding the motorcycle, I tipped it going slowly. I wasn't hurt, but it freaked me out enough where I was like, oh, maybe I'm just fine on the back of the bike. Because
Yeah.
I tried to ride a motorcycle on set, but it was like on gravel and they wanted me to put a guy behind me. So it's one thing to learn how to ride a motorcycle, and then it's another thing to do it slowly on gravel with the guy behind you when you just learned. So I
Yeah.
was like, this is not safe. So I ended up being on the back of the bike. But to your point, it would have been it. The idea was I absolutely am the leader.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of
Yeah,
my
no, and
character.
so
Yeah.
you have, in fact, to the point where all the boys sort of, are showing off and having this sort of silly rumble
Yeah.
at your welcome party for your sister,
Yeah.
just because men will be men, I guess. And but no, it's I think it's fantastic because it sets up a thing of like, well, yes, okay, we're about to go into the prison section, and obviously there's going to be some exploitation
Yeah.
within that sequence and so on. But even in prison, the leader of the other gang is also a woman. Like it's female gangs against female gangs,
Yes.
and it's and I'm not going to say that it's sort of feminist all the way through, but there is a certain what I'm trying to say is genre film gave women the chance back then to play strength, to play leaders, to play action, to play
And to play interesting roles. And you're right,
right.
action. There was more
Yeah.
action in B films that women got to do
Right.
before. Yeah. And what just occurred to me that you're just talking about this is that maybe because Henry's wife was a strong woman,
Right,
that
that's
is
what I
something
thought.
in him. Yeah, that could be something that was that because when I think about it, Heart of Fear, which was the movie I did with him later, I'm a detective. I am the lead detective. That's also a
Right.
powerful, or I was a rookie, but doesn't matter. I was still in a powerful role as
Yeah.
a female. So yeah, maybe he's a little ahead of his time because his wife was.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, listen, I would much rather watch movies, especially these days, because we've had however many, decades now of sort of incredibly male-driven movies, that every time there's just sort of another male-driven movie, as good as the movies can be, I
Uh-huh.
go, you could tell the same story that men, women, whoever would like across the board, but you could tell it with a voice that we haven't heard 1,000 times. Do you know what I mean?
Wonderful. I love what you're saying.
That's how I mean,
I
that's how
love
I
what you're
genuinely
saying.
feel
It's
about it.
it's just wonderful. It's great to hear you to speak like this.
Well,
Yes.
I'm
It's
not,
like,
I
it's wonderful.
genuinely feel that,
Yeah, no,
genuinely
I
feel
believe
that
you.
way.
I
So,
absolutely believe you. I can tell
um,
you are a passionate movie lover and you want stories that you believe will be more interesting, and I'm not arguing.
yeah, no, I agree. I would love to see
Yeah,
things from all different perceptions. That's all
yeah,
different
sure.
situation. So obviously we talked about you working with Gail. She obviously was uh, even then was sort of building a big career for herself
Yes,
in
yes,
low budget films, erotic thrillers, things
yeah,
like that. She's sort of very well known to a certain group of people.
yeah.
What was it like working with her, and how did you have a ease, as I said, a chemistry with her that's sort of undeniable as sisters in the movie? What was it like working with her? Have you stayed in contact with her?
We did not stay in contact. I actually reached out to her not that long ago when I saw that the two movies were on the DVD
Yeah,
and on Instagram, but she didn't respond. I'm not sure what she's doing now. Is she doing public speaking
she's
or
doing some self-help stuff. She's
okay,
doing some
wellness?
therapy
Yeah,
stuff,
that's right.
and
That's right.
yeah, health and wellness stuff. And then
Yeah,
she still shows up like if Fred Olen Ray is making a movie or someone like that, she'll still someone who she's worked with before, Jim Wynorski or someone.
yeah,
She'll crop up in their movies still occasionally, but
yeah.
not so often.
But we didn't stay in touch, and I didn't know about her other movies or other career because we know I don't know it just we were just in the moment with
Right,
whatever
right,
was we were doing. But you're right to say that there was a sisterly thing because I think we did have a very nice. There was an ease
right.
and a connection, and it makes me think of that one line, which I think was one of my favorite moments on the bus when I lean in, and I guess she had a necklace that was the other half of my necklace or something like this,
It
and
has your mother in it. It's like
ah,
the only photo that
of
remains of the
our
mother.
mother. And
Yeah,
I said, April showers brings May flowers
yeah.
because that was our thing.
Little
So I
saying.
said the first part and she says the second part, and that's when she realizes who I am. And that was a lovely moment, and I think that that kind of sums up how it was working. It just was like working together was natural. It was just
Yeah.
natural.
No, and I as I say, I don't know exactly at what point in her career she was in, because she was in a ton of movies like back
Yeah,
to back at that time. But yeah, there wasn't, she came to work, she came to,
yeah.
play the role. She didn't bring sort of ego or anything like that with it.
No,
It was all good. Yeah.
no.
Good, good,
I
good.
would have noticed. It wasn't
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
It was just
No, I'm
very,
not saying I've not
yeah,
heard anything.
yeah, yeah. No.
I'm just asking the question.
It was relaxed. It was very
Yeah.
natural.
Well, there's that great bit because, yeah, sort of you show up and then there's this party going on and the band's playing a song and the
Yeah,
boys are all rumbling and stuff like that. And obviously, there's that thing where, because it was the rental era, obviously, there's certain things they have to get in the movie. So they have some action, they have the bike show up and take over the bus, they have some sex, they have some other stuff in it. But the nicest bits in that
yeah,
beginning section of the movie is when you and Gail get to kind of go off and you walk around
yeah.
the back of the house and you're sort of sat chatting away. And then I think you try on each other's, like she's
The
brought you
clothes
some
and
kind of Laura Ashley dress and
right.
you
We're
give her
doing
like a
yeah.
leather jacket. Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Those
It
scenes
was
play really
nice.
naturally and
Yeah.
really realistically and really authentically. Did you guys work on that? Did you guys sort of go away and kind of plot that out, or did you just the
No,
cameras roll
you
and
know
just
what? I look, it was a long time ago, so maybe we
sure,
did, but I don't have a memory of that. I have a memory of us, I'm sure we ran lines and
right?
I'm sure we did that, but I don't think that, first of all, there was not a lot of time to rehearse. So
No,
in many films, I just ran into an actor that I worked with on Heart of Fear, and he said one of the things that he loved and remembered about me was that I made a point to get all the actors together to rehearse, because in many of these movies, there's not enough time to rehearse.
yeah,
So it's so much easier to know what you're doing and feel comfortable with everyone and know your lines if you rehearse.
right,
So I don't even remember doing that, but apparently I did that with Heart of Fear. Maybe I did that with Cellblock Sisters and I can't remember. I don't
yeah.
know. But yeah, it kind of felt effortless in our scenes. Like we just fell into this and our roles, her being
Yeah.
posh and me being spicy. We felt comfortable in those.
Yeah,
It,
yeah.
yeah.
No, it's great. It's great, and I think it gives a nice sort of solid foundation to sort of the story that then has to play out. And am I right in thinking? I'm just thinking about it now. The opening scene where you see the mother, that's you playing the
Yeah,
mother as well, right? Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
is.
I know you're not
Yeah,
credited as both, but you play the mother as well in that one scene, right, with
that's
Sam,
right. With that brown wig.
with yeah, 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 with Red
And
Horton and Brown Wig.
that
Yeah.
was my first ever death scene.
Oh, okay.
Because if you remember, she falls and hits her head on a rock.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I thought
Mhm.
that looked pretty good.
It looks great. I was like, is it a
Right?
polystyrene? How did you do that? Like, is it a polystyrene rock, or do you just stop yourself before you really hit it, or what? I don't know. But no,
You
it
know
looks
what?
really good.
I actually can't remember. I really don't remember. I remember I didn't get hurt, so whatever
Yeah.
it was, it worked out okay.
Yeah. And Red Horton, yeah, Red Horton as Sam is just selling your children off to some random
That's
guy.
right. Yeah, he was mean.
Yeah, he was. He was
And
an
then I
absolute
think
bastard.
the kid I was holding was Gail's.
Oh, really? That was
Yeah.
Gail? Oh, nice. Okay. Very cool. As you go into the prison, obviously, there are some stunts and there's some fights and things like that in the film. How are you doing stuff like that into doing stunts and fights? Were you
So
athletic, that kind of thing at the
yeah,
time? Yeah.
back then, back in the day, I would say. Um, well, it's funny. I was just today thinking about how I loved karate as a kid. So I was in Tang Soo Do, and Chuck Norris was my teacher.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
Yeah, he owned a school in
Yeah.
out here in the valley in San Fernando Valley, and back in the day, and he taught and he loved it. He and his partner, and this is actually a funny story. You're the first person I'm telling it to. Uh, he okay. there was a time, I'm just going to say whatever, in the late 70s, early 80s, there was a time where this sort of thing could happen and it was not like shocking. They were tough in this school. He was a delightful, wonderful guy, but sometimes the sensei would like hit you in the stomach, so you would hold your stomach the way you're supposed to. And so he accidentally knocked the wind out of me. And I was 10.
Yeah.
So it's completely crazy. And here I am laughing about it because it's a fun story that Chuck Norris.
Right.
But obviously now everyone that would never happen. The person would be sued, but so many things like that went down in those days. But all this to say that I was really into karate. I loved it, and I love fight scenes. In Cellblock Sisters, I was happy to do the fight scenes. I had playing around with the stunt guys at a party, after party. I had accident, I had injured and cracked my ribs. Okay.
Oh
So
my goodness.
I know. So my ribs were cracked. So during the fight scene you're talking about in the prison,
Right.
my ribs were tightly wrapped because I was in pain because that
wow.
hurts. So I did that through pain. So I'm kind of feel kind of macho right now.
Yeah, that's badass. Give yourself a pat on the back for that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. I can't imagine, because it's quite a brawl. I mean, obviously it's staged, but it's quite a brawl. There's about 12 or 15 of you sort of rumbling on the roof or wherever that. I couldn't tell. Is that workout yard, like the prison yard?
That's a real prison. Yeah.
Yeah, is that on the roof of the prison, or is that just how I perceived it in my head, or was that just at the back of the prison? Because for some reason in my head I'm thinking it's on the roof, but I don't know why I'm thinking that. I don't know why.
It kind of does give off roof vibes.
I don't know why.
Yeah, because it's
Maybe
so open, because it's so wide open.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know what? I can't quite remember, but now you put roof into my head.
I don't know
So
why.
now I believe it's a roof.
Yes, I don't know why I think that. But anyway, on that big prison yard rumble, there's quite a few people, and I mean, if one of them had, slipped and hit you in the wrong place, or not pulled their punch or whatever, you could have been in real trouble. So good for you. Look at that, doing an action scene with strapped up ribs.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's
for
kind of a
giving me the
Cynthia
opportunity.
Rothrock move.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to boast about that, because I don't think I have enough. Only at parties.
You should boast about it all the time. It's a Cynthia Rothrock move. That's the kind of thing she tells when she talks about her Hong Kong movies, and she'd be like, "Yeah, I dislocated my knee, but I went back out and did some insane stunts." So good for you. That's fantastic.
Also, though, you do a lot of stupid crap when you're young.
Yes, yes. I felt, and at least you were doing it on a movie that you were getting paid for and was
that's right.
video. I once rolled off the hood of a moving car and not on purpose. By accident. I was making a student film, and I was positioned on the front of the car, holding the windscreen, and I told the guy to just drive slowly and drive straight. And when we set up two cameras either side, and as we started filming, I don't know whether he wanted to make it look good or what, but he started to move the car around as if we were sort of battling on the car. Of course, my body slid. I'm holding onto one side of the windscreen. My body slid across the hood. My feet hit the floor, and then my face hit the floor. So that was fun.
Oh, so you were hurt.
I got a fat lip. I can't believe I didn't lose any teeth, but I got a fat lip and some scrapes on my thighs and hips and stuff. But I was 18, so I bounced off the pavement. You don't.
Of course.
If I did that now, I would die.
No, of course. No, nobody's.
No middle-aged man should be getting on the hood of a car unless you're Keanu Reeves or something. But yeah, so any stories from the prison you shot in? Do you remember which prison it was or where it was?
It was a known Los Angeles prison, and I knew for so long, but now I can't remember the name. But I bet that's easy to figure out.
Yeah, I couldn't find it online. But was it in operation, or was it did you film in a closed off section, or was it decommissioned, or? Do you
I
remember?
think it was decommissioned. That no, yeah, yeah, but it was a real prison,
Yeah.
and you can, and it felt really creepy
Yeah.
and cold, and I felt like it was haunted, and I couldn't not wait to stop filming there. I
Yeah.
didn't like it. That was just a creepy feeling
Well,
being
because
there.
at some points you and Gail are running around
Yeah.
sort of back rooms and the laundry and the
Yeah, that's
yeah,
right. Well, they're
battle.
chasing us. Oh, before my death scene.
Yeah, yeah.
My second death scene.
Yeah, you died twice in the movie.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't think you should have died. That was
Oh,
I
thanks.
didn't think you should have died. I thought that was disappointing. And that
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't have ended the movie that way.
Yeah, I hear you. I sometimes feel that way too when I watch a movie. I'm like, was
Yeah.
that necessary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
have somehow got all the other bikers in the prison as well to sort of have some big rumble, and then I would have had you get out of the prison somehow and like ride away or something into the sun.
Yes, and we never know what happens to me.
Yes.
But we know I'm fine and that
Yeah.
I'll be fine. I
Well, because
like that.
there's always that thing in movies where if a bad guy gets shot once or stabbed once or whatever,
Yeah.
they're dead. That's it. But if a good guy gets stabbed or shot or whatever, they can always kind of come back because they'll heal up or they'll
Yeah.
whatever.
The next scene is in the hospital.
Right. That's what I would have done. I can't.
Yeah.
I was disappointed that wasn't the case. You
John,
died
write
twice.
that. I need you to write the sequel.
Yes, I would love to write something like a Cellblock Sisters sequel. I wouldn't necessarily set it in prison again. I would have you guys like on the road and your adventures since then, and maybe
Maybe we're on the lam.
you're hiding out in like a backwater town, and it's sort of like a Roadhouse type movie, but with you and Gail, so that there's some bad guys doing bad stuff in a backwater town. They ride into town to take over the backwater,
Yes.
and you and Gail have to defend the town or
I
something.
mean, come on, this 30 years later. So this is really interesting. So
Yes.
this is interesting stuff. 30
Yeah.
years later, where are they now and what are they doing?
Yes, I would love that. I would love that. If anyone has
Oh,
300
funny.
grand out there that we can make this movie with, let us know. Anyone
Reach out
listening?
to Henry. Say,
who
Henry,
wants-
come back.
Yes.
Where are they now?
Where are you banished to now? Like, because you're banished behind
Yeah.
bars, but you need
Right.
another, like, they're
Yeah.
banished beyond something,
Yeah.
But
Banished in paradise.
yes. Why? Because you'd like to film on like a beautiful island somewhere, right?
course.
Yeah. Banished to paradise. We all just get a nice vacation to the Bahamas or something to make a movie, or the Caribbean or something. Anyway, I would love to do that. And if, as I say, anyone listening wants to pony up the cash, please go right ahead. But you wrote on your Instagram something that I absolutely love about having been in these women in prison movies. And we've touched on this during our conversation, but you sort of said, I think I'm supposed to be embarrassed by being in them, but shame doesn't work for my brain. I mean,
Yeah.
what's the point? And besides, they serve as a fun memory from my 20s. Obviously, I completely agree with you. I don't think you should have any shame about having been in these movies. You should have complete
Thank you.
joy, and people should check these films out because I think they're fantastic especially I put everything within the genre and the reason they were made. So,
Yes. That's right. You don't compare it with everything. You just
No.
you apples with apples.
Yes,
Oranges
exactly.
with oranges.
Yeah. But no, it's fantastic. And so you said you didn't look at the movies before the interview, but have you gone back and looked at them during your life at all?
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Yeah. And do you think that you would want to sort of outside of our sequel, would you want to kind of pursue more leading roles again? Have you thought about kind of going back into the B movie world or some kind of movie world in that regard?
I'm very much so I don't know if it's my ADHD brain or what, but I am very much like I go with the flow and I'm on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So it's not like I ever left B world.
Right.
It was not a conscious decision. It's just the next thing I got was, a guest spot on a TV show. The next thing I
Yeah.
got was this. And so I just was following the natural progression of my career. And when I was shooting Cellblock Sisters, I was simultaneously starting to work at Ralph Edwards Stu Billett Productions. And that is the place I worked where I eventually became a TV dating game show host.
Yeah.
And that show that I helped develop and co-produce eventually went national, became a national syndicated show that I was a host of. And I was a guest on Jay Leno, on The Tonight Show. I was on the Bill Maher show. I traveled the country with my best friend. He was my personal assistant. I hired my best friend as my personal assistant. And so my life was like all very exciting. And I had those, those years of fame, which was super fun. And so I just didn't think about, I was just in that moment of that.
Yeah.
And then whatever led afterwards, I do a lot of voiceover, and especially afterwards, like a ton. So that's where I went, and I just kept going where I felt like I guess I was wanted, or
Yeah.
and so I just kept that momentum going. But I would love to. Why not? Of course. For me, I think now, I still act, but I'm a professional artist. That takes a lot of energy. I'm a professional writer. That takes a lot of energy. But I still do audition, and I did a movie just a few years ago. That hasn't been released yet. What I really loved about Cellblock Sisters is the fact that the part was so good for me. Okay,
Yeah.
because that was so. I mean, I wasn't really her, but I was like kind of a wild child and like I don't know, bohemian, and kind of that worked for
Right.
that character. So what I would love to do, like be a lead again in something where I get to really use a lot of who I am, because that's my favorite.
Yeah.
Just that kind of natural evolution of who I am to come forth in a role. So I would love that, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And yeah, did you feel, were there similarities with April outside of just sort of, it sounds like to me you were very kind of, in the best way possible, go with the flow, fly by the seat of your pants, that kind of
Yes.
thing, where you're in it, you're very in it, like
Yeah.
you're very now and present
Yes.
and all those things you have to be.
Hyper focused.
Yeah, but the character is because the character itself is sort of going in all directions.
Yes.
You were able to play that because you were able to be present in each of those moods that April is in, I guess.
That's right.
Is
That's
that how
right.
that worked?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And
Yeah,
it felt like it just felt natural. It felt good, and I
Yeah.
like that. I like that. That feels good to me when it just feels like a natural fit.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's funny because when I was thinking about because I tend to like actors that are like that. Like one of my favorite actors is Donald Pleasance, and he's someone who, when he's in a movie, you don't know if it's Donald Pleasance. I mean, he's different in all the different movies, but
Yeah.
there's so much of
Him and
him that he seemingly brings to his roles while still being completely different characters.
right.
But it feels like when he's a character, it feels like that character walked on set and they were
Right.
like, oh, film the guy in the overcoat, or film the hobo, or film the detective, or film
Right,
whatever
right.
character he was. He kind of comes on and suddenly the screen lights up because that's who he is. There's
Brilliant.
something about him like that.
That's excellent.
Wings Hauser, who worked with PM, was similar. Wings Hauser was very much like that. He felt improvisational, even though there was a lot of actually he was reading a lot of the scripts, because everyone I've interviewed about Wings would say, because he passed again last year, sadly, before I got to talk to him. But when I was talking about Wings, everyone was like, actually, I don't think there was a lot of improvisation. I think it was all script. But the way he played stuff seemed very loose and very improvised. Well, there aren't many female actors that I can think of in that regard. When I saw your performance, that's how I thought of your performance.
At that time. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Which I think that's what drew me to it, because I was sort of like, I don't know if she's just this character, or if she's just bringing so much to this character that it jumped, in the way words jump off the page, that you just kind of jump off the screen. That's how I felt.
That's fantastic. That's a beautiful compliment. Thank you. Yeah.
You're very welcome, and I mean it. And so as we went through, you've done movies, voiceovers, you're an artist, you're a writer, you're a director, you're a game show host, you're an author, and so much more. You're fantastic. I know you've also made a series of short films as a writer, director, and
Yeah,
performer as well from your IMDb. Are
yeah.
those available anywhere? Can people see those? Have you put them up on YouTube or on
So,
your website? Or...
I had a web series called
Yeah.
Karma's a Bitch where I played Karma. Karma came down to earth and made people take responsibility for their actions.
God, I wish someone would do that right now.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, Karma would be so busy and exhausted. Um,
Sorry.
so I did 16 episodes of that. I played Karma and I wrote and created the show. And for a while, it played on Virgin America when you would go fly. It was like Best of the Web and all this. It was on YouTube for a while. I actually wrote a story. I have a Substack, and I wrote a story about the show business side of what happened with this web series that was successful, where it went, how it was distributed, and then how it just disappeared. And now I can't find it anywhere, and I can't find my copies of it. And it's just a sad Hollywood story in a way. But I do have a few episodes up on YouTube of Karma's a Bitch on anniewood.com. Under my writing tag, I think I have some of my short films. I might have a link to my stop motion. I like to do microfilms.
Yeah.
So I share these on my Substack, so please subscribe. And whoever's listening, subscribe. Go to anniewood.com and you'll be able to subscribe. And I send something out every Friday morning, memoir essays, my latest art, and my films. And sometimes they're available in certain places, but they're around. They're around.
Nice.
I love sharing it just like with people who are subscribing because it makes them, it's like a nice connection. Like, look,
Yeah.
this is special just for you. But I do have a poetry film that's going to be in a film festival in here in Los Angeles, in Venice, California, in I think in May, the International Poetry Video Film Fest. So things like that, people can see my work if they go to these film festivals. But I do make a lot of them available on my website.
Fantastic. That's great. And
Oh, there's also a short film that I wrote and directed and starring called Numbers, and you can find that on YouTube.
oh,
Numbers.
nice. Oh, very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I was going to say if there's anything as we wrap up that you want to let people know, obviously you're doing so many things, but is anniewood.com, I take it, is sort of the place to go if anyone's interested or you want to learn what you're up to now.
It's really where I have everything. Like if you click on artists, you'll see the sculptures that I'm recently been making. If I'm in a show or something, I'll put it there. And then as soon as you go to anniewood.com, there's a pop-up where you can subscribe. Subscribing is absolutely the best way to really stay in touch with all the things I'm doing. And artist Annie Wood at Instagram.
Well, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And Annie, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for answering questions. I'm going to figure out how to watch Hearts of, what was it called?
Heart of Fear.
It's on Tubi and the Roku channel. So
There you go.
That's
Boom.
my viewing tonight. I'm kid you not.
Excellent.
I'm gonna wrap this up and I'm gonna go watch Heart of
Okay.
Fear tonight. So
And
that's great.
email me. Let me know what you think.
I will. I definitely
Okay.
will. And thank you so much for your support of the show and giving of your time today. It was a
Well,
real
this was
pleasure.
a blast. Thank you so much. Thanks.
All right. Take care of yourself and all
Bye.
the best. So was there anything in particular that stood out to you where you were like, this movie, worth the price of admission alone was this scene or these scenes?
Oh man, I have to say I cannot say enough about Annie Wood. Like I really can't. She's just so amazing, and she
So
was
good.
she's just so captivating to watch her. Like she's just interesting and fun and funny and very naturally. I did a little bit of research on her, so I heard she's actually a stand-up comic and that she did stand-up comedy for a while. And her, when I looked at her face, I was like, I know I have seen her in some stuff, right? And of course, obviously, you know, there's a lot of erotic thriller type stuff that she's been in. But no, she's great. She's absolutely great. So like any scene she does, she steals. I absolutely love the weird biker sex concert scene. Lot going on there, lot to unpack. I really love that scene, and I like the part where her sister comes to visit her in prison, because yet another Annie Wood scene, right? Like, I mean, she's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I love all that stuff at the beginning where they make California, they film in California in all the parts that make it look like kind of a dust bowl at the turn of the century, where everyone is just living in shacks.
It's just gross. Like, it's. I was like, what part of like, because I know it's LA, but like at the same time, I'm like, I especially love that's another way. At the very end of the movie, and I mean the end of the movie, you see this like panoramic shot of Los Angeles, and I was like, yes, the lovely scenic view of downtown LA.
So I mean, as you go east out of Los Angeles into sort of the broader California area, there is a lot more kind of dusty, deserty kind of shanty towns and shacks and things like that. I momentarily in my life lived in Vegas for 18 months, and driving to and from California, you kind of pass through a lot of those little towns. Yeah. So it's not it's not crazy to believe that there are some biker shacks and dust bowl little lean-tos and sheds and things that everyone's living in, but it's the kind of Americana exploitation, rough and tumble sort of setup that I really, really like and really, really enjoy. In fact, there is another PM Entertainment alum called Sherry Rose.
Oh, Sherry Rose. That's yes, I do know Sherry Rose. Yes. And
she made an incredible, I really love it, biker movie called Me and Will, that travels through with her and Melissa Bear. And it's on Tubi right now if you're interested.
That's cool. Yeah, because she's in Summer Job, which is one of my favorites. She's in we did Devil in the Flesh with Rose McGowan. We actually did that on the show. She's one of the stars of that. I fucking love that movie. I love me some Sherry Rose, and she showed up on the pilot episodes of Sons of Anarchy. So biker just took it all back. Like,
So if you want to continue, if you were sad that there was not a sequel where Gail Harris takes over a biker gang and goes on a road trip of retribution, check out Me and Will with Sherry Rose, a fantastic female biker movie that has cameos, believe it or not, from Keanu Reeves, Dennis Hopper, Peter Fonda, and Patrick Dempsey, of all people.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And Sherry Rose, I think, at least directed it, if not wrote and produced it, I think.
Yeah, I heard she definitely dipped her foot in that for a bit.
So definitely check that out, because I thought that was wonderful, and definitely within this vibe of sort of the Dust Bowl forgotten areas of California and Western Nevada.
And I love it. I'm here.
It's fantastic. My favorite scene in the whole movie is the walk and talk. So there is a very ambitious walk and talk with, and I say ambitious just because most B movies don't put this much dialogue in one shot. You know what I mean? Normally they kind of break it up just because of, normally because the actors in B movies, rightly or wrongly, wouldn't necessarily be able to handle this. The fantastic thing is that, and again, I'm not just saying this for an exploitation movie. Almost every single actor in this movie should have had a much bigger career outside of this type of film. Annie Wood is fantastic. Jamie Donahue, who plays Flo, is fantastic. Jenna Bodner, again, fantastic. And I'm also not saying that they were wasted in this type of movie, because we love this type of movie. But
they're great. Jenna Bodner is up there in my opinion. With like, with the Wendy O. Williams and the Pam Greers and all the other, because I have seen quite a few women in prison movies someone that's never set foot in a jail cell. I have seen quite a few of them. So and she is up there. Like, she's really amazing.
I mean, there's a whole scene that is quite to typical of these kind of movies, but also seems completely ridiculous in hindsight, which is obviously the get all the women naked and lecture them before they go to jail scene, which again doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But when you have a scene like that, and obviously the camera is like panning across these sort of hard benches and all the women are on there naked, some covering themselves, some not. The fact that Jenna Bodner, who's meant to be like the cocky, I've been through this a million times kind of person, the fact that she delivers like a genuinely compelling, like, fuck you to the guard kind of banter back and forth, not a full fuck you, but like a banter back and forth with the guard, while completely naked, but like owning it 100%. What I love to see, and Pam Grier, you're right, does exactly the same kind of thing in her movies, which is you take a scene that in anybody else's hands would have been just exploitative, sleazy, and awful, and you would have just felt bad about the actors. You would have just looked at it and gone, oh, it's how unfortunate all these, actors who came to Hollywood trying to, get their fortune or get a career or whatever, have to slum it in a movie where they're only good for being naked. You get a scene like that might play out that way, and you put someone like a Jenna Bodner in it, giving an incredible performance, and she immediately takes back the exploitation. She immediately takes it back and owns it, and it's like, I don't fucking care that I'm naked. Fucking come at me. I'm gonna, you know what I mean? And like the way she is, I think it does. Look, it doesn't alleviate the maybe the sleaziness or the underlying exploitation, but it definitely takes away that feeling you might have as an empathetic audience, where you're like, I know I'm watching an exploitation film, but did you really have to make all these women feel this uncomfortable? The moment the performances are not uncomfortable, it takes the power back, is what I'm trying to say. I feel
absolutely.
like, I mean, tell me I'm wrong, but
no, actually, I agree with you on that. I do agree with you on that. Yeah.
But it also takes one hell of an actress. It does. It takes someone who, like a Pam Grier or like a Jenna Bodner, is like, I have power enough for everyone in this room. Like, you ain't ever getting to me. You will never get through. Like, my skin is thick and I own myself and I am here to kick ass. And when you get an actor like that, it just blows everything out of the water. And I know that sounds ridiculous to be talking about like a movie like this, but trust me, one of the reasons I love B movies and I love splashing around in these waters is you find performances like this where you're like, Hollywood just doesn't know what they have half the time. It really doesn't.
Absolutely.
But bringing that back, Jamie Donahue in the how did you get here thing. So May asks her Sally Flo how she got here. And Flo tells her a story during a walk and talk around the prison yard, which seems to be on the roof.
Yeah, that was a nice, that was a cool prison yard, actually.
Yeah. So they're walking around the prison yard. It's a single shot. It's up there with anything that The West Wing ever did, as far as I'm concerned. It is up there with Aaron Sorkin, as far as I'm concerned. I posted it on my Instagram account. If you haven't seen it already, anyone listening can go find it on, I believe, the After Movie Diners Instagram account. I may have posted it on the PM Entertainment one as well. But Jamie Donahue tells a Shaggy Dog story. It's not even the true story, but she tells us the Shaggy Dog story about her beau, Wallace, and how she got into prison. And just a fantastic performance. It's probably my favorite scene in the movie because it's so unexpected to be in a movie like this. Much like the lines that I've been kind of referencing throughout the podcast today, where you just have these incredible lines where like so the beginning of the scene that I'm talking about, you see them first inside the prison and she's kind of showing her around before they go outside and they get into this walk and talk. And even then you get this back and forth, which in any other movie would be like, it would be fantastic. It'd be a hilarious back and forth. So Flo is saying to Gail, May rather, I love English actors like Sean Connery. And Gail goes, I'm sorry, but Sean Connery is Scottish. And she says, well, how about Liam Neeson? He's Irish. Mel Gibson, Australian. And then she just goes, close enough. And it was just like, it was this wonderful, like, back and forth. And if you don't have two actors who can handle comedic timing the way these guys do, it would fall flat. But as it is, it bounces off the screen. So I'm always on the lookout for stuff like that. So that's why she gets my favorite scene out of the movie, because yeah, I just loved the walk and talk. I like the banter, and I like the Shaggy Dog story about her hick Bo Wallace, who was shooting at mailboxes or something.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I love it. Love it very, very much. But yeah, those are my scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, the only other one I would probably say that is an absolute classic is the party that we keep referencing, because I don't know about you, but I have an absolute love for bands that perform live in film. Like, and I don't mean well-known bands, but I mean like,
oh yeah, no, any band. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah, I think it's in Overboard when they go to a roadhouse and there's a band singing "Go Jim Dandy."
Yep,
Does that sound about right?
Yep. Yep.
That's absolutely fantastic. There's a scene in Tough Turf when they go into like a nightclub bar type thing.
Yep.
There's a band playing, anything like that, where there's just a random band that's just playing on the soundtrack, but also in the scene. I'm a huge fan of. So I'm a big fan. I'm also a fan of the fact that halfway through the song, Hello to Hollywood, when the fight's broken out and Gail doesn't know where to look and her sister's inside having sex, you just hear the guy on the mic just go, "Welcome to Hollywood." Like,
yeah, it's so wild. It's great. I love it. It's so
I love all that stuff. That's absolutely fantastic. So those scenes are great, but for anyone looking to hunt this movie down, also it is replete with everything you need for an exploitation woman in prison film, except, and I have to say thankfully, because I'm not a big fan of watching it, certainly not as I get older, is the abuse. There's a lot of violence, but it's not sexual abuse in the movie. So that's, I think that's good for me. So famously, so overall thoughts then, just what you would rank it and all that kind of stuff.
Overall thoughts, definitely recommend. Really just enjoyed it, enjoyed the pacing of it. Love Annie Wood, loved Gail, obviously, loved Jenna Bodner. I think it is, like I said, this film has no business being as good as it is, really. Well written, well acted, funny, sometimes unintentionally so. But it's just good. It's just a good time, I would say. Yeah, no, it's just a good time. I like it. I would follow it. I would do a back-to-back with Reform School Girls. Like, if you're going to go women in prison,
sure,
you might as well go for the most like over the top, ridiculous, crazy, and then this, so.
And do you have a ranking for it within PM Entertainment films specifically?
I would rank this. I like it more than I like Bikini Summer, so I can say that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I tried to watch Bikini Summer the other night. Like, my fiance and I tried to watch it, and I was like, it's okay. There are things about it that I still love, and there's things about it I cringe. But it'll
make an interesting podcast.
Yes, it will. It absolutely will, because I have a lot of information about the actors and stuff, so that makes it much more interesting to me. Yeah. But yeah, I would in the ranking, I would probably put this as my favorite, I would say. Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
And could you rank it within either Gail Harris movies or Jenna Bodner movie? I mean, pick one of the lead actors that you have seen in several movies.
Say this is absolutely Jenna Bodner's best. Like, she did a movie called Huntress. I was on a podcast called Puppet Masters and Castle Freaks, and I did the episode of The Huntress, and it was like, I thank God those guys are amazing, because it was a super hard movie to get through. And this is somebody who's an erotica aficionado. And I was just like, this is fucking horrible. But she's the star of that. But I honestly think this is her best performance. This is her best movie, period. Gail, I love her so much. And I love, my favorite role of hers though, has got to be, is it Forbidden Seduction?
Forbidden Secrets.
Passion Secrets.
Forbidden Secrets, I think. I just watched it the other night.
Yes.
The one where the detective is a psychic?
Absolutely, yes. That's my favorite Gail. That's my favorite Gail. But I also do love her in the Wynorski stuff too. So, but I honestly feel like that's my favorite, and then this will be my second favorite. Of
Forbidden Games. Sorry, Forbidden Games.
Games.
Which PM Entertainment also distributed.
Okay, I can see the box cover like
Yes.
in my head. Like I know what the box
It's a very
cover looks
saucy
like,
box cover, both of them in lingerie, and there's a big red velvet kind of vibe in the middle of it.
It's
No,
wild.
so Forbidden Games, which is PM distributed, but I don't think they had anything to do with the making of.
Yeah. So that's So I would say that's my top, Gail, right? And then this one, and then all the Wynorski stuff, I would say. Yeah.
So so for just to let you know, Forbidden Games was released also on the Skin Max series, as was her other movie, Galaxy Girls, is also on the Skin Max series. If you're interested in picking those up, she also crosses over for the action aficionados out there, the B tier action aficionados. She became good friends with the other Mehi who makes low budget action movies, not Joseph Mehi, but Jalal Mehi. And she appears in all the Circuit movies, which was sort of Olivia Gruner's, one of his most famous kind of run of B-tier action movies. So Gail does show up in those. If you're not a fan of the sex romp, exploitation, or erotic thriller genre, you can always find her in those films if you like action movies, which you probably do listening to this show. But she's fantastic. I love her in all sorts of films. Sorority House Massacre 2, Hard to Die. She's great in both of those. I have yet to see the movie Nudity Required, but it is hands down one of the best titles probably of any film. Nudity is required. You just feel like that's what the cigar chomping studio executives
Yeah, Nudity Required is a rough watch.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's not, here's the thing though, like it's not a rough watch for what you think it is. It's a rough watch because it gets very, very dark, because it talks about essentially it's a documentary that was made by a woman who did all of the music for Roger Corman's films. And she starts to explore why she's so fascinated by working for Roger, and why she's so fascinated by working in this sort of sex violence genre. And then it turns out that she was actually sexually abused as a child by her aunt. And so it's a first of all, only available on VHS, very hard to find anyway, but like it's a dark watch. I used to
this the one I'm looking at is one by John T. Bone, which has to be a pseudonym for someone.
John, oh my God, John T. Bone,
and it has Julie Newmar in it.
Okay, because God, there must be like 3 or 4 movies called Nudity Required.
Okay, no, yeah, this is a raunchy comedy from 1989.
89. Okay,
I'm going by IMDb. I don't know.
Okay, whatever that is, I am here for it. I strongly I strongly caution anybody who is looking for a documentary, if it's called Nudity Required, please don't watch it.
Yeah. But yeah, John T. Bone, who obviously makes a lot of actual porn and softcore films, but apparently directed this movie with Julie Newmar in it, of all people, and Gail Thackeray had a performance in that, apparently.
That's
with Billy
crazy.
Frank, Brad Zoutout. I don't know.
Oh, Brad Zoutot. Oh, I love him because he was in Hard Bodies 2. He was in a movie called Knockouts, which is also another one of those super Skinamaxy, hard to find movies. But he is most famous for coming up with the software that would enable people to be able to listen to music on their phones.
Oh, wow.
He was one of the first people to come up with that. And now I think he probably just relaxes on a beach in Cabo at this point. But yeah, that's what he went on to do, was develop this software. He's awesome. He's a cool dude.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. So in terms of my ranking of this, so my overall thought is I loved it, obviously. My overall thought is that it has made me want to watch all of Henri Charr's films. I don't know how far I'll get into the talking dog movies that he does down the road.
Yeah, there it is.
But I do know that he's got a ton of stuff he did with PM Entertainment that I talked about at the beginning of the movie that I'll definitely be watching. But I also want to watch Under Lock and Key, which is the only one of the trilogy of women in prison movies that I have not yet seen. by him. I have it on VHS, so I will probably watch that at some point this weekend because I'm in the mood already. Let's see where I rank it on my list. You can follow me on Letterboxd. If I haven't told you already, I'm listed there either by John Cross or by After Movie Diner. If you look me up on Letterboxd, you'll find me in either place. But on there, I have my City Lights and PM Entertainment list that I have created that has all the movies that I have seen so far in PM Entertainment. And I put this at number 11 out of the 66 movies that are on my City Lights and PM Entertainment list right now. I put this at number 11. I give it 4.5 stars. So it is in the definitely in the top echelons of PM Entertainment for me. In terms of Gail Harris movies, I got to give it to Hard to Die only because my dear friend Peter Spellos is in that movie, and Peter is no longer with us, but it is an absolutely hilarious performance by Peter. So I know that you're like, right, but it's Gail Harris movies. I'm just saying I've got to give it to Hard to Die because only Wynorski could figure out a way to make a Die Hard clone in a not even a high rise, just in an office building where apparently because it's a lingerie company, all the women have to be in lingerie. That's just the rule.
Absolutely. Oh, that's a rule.
That's a rule.
If you work for a lingerie company, you are in lingerie all the time.
The whole
Victoria's
time.
Secret
Even when you're
know.
cataloging boxes as they are in the movie.
100%. That's how Fredericks of Hollywood did it. That's how Trashy Lingerie does it. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, that's Victoria's Secret. Victoria's Secret is that you have to catalog inventory while in your underwear. Anyway, Hard to Die gets the top spot, but this slots right in at number 2 for my favorite Gail Harris film, I think. I think she's great in this. I think she's also great in Forbidden Games, but she's great in Forbidden Games because she gets to have the turn. She gets to be all innocent and North Yorkshire, cozy, sweet, last through the middle of the movie, and then at the end of the movie gets to be like, it was really, I've just spoiled Forbidden Games for everyone who's listening, but whatever.
Yeah, but it's wild. It's good. Check it out. Obviously, if MVD just decided to put it on DVD, that's pretty awesome. You should check that out. I'm going to be, as soon as we get off this call, my birthday is Tuesday. I am going online and I am just going to order every single MVD DVD I can find.
Yes, and they're only about $8 a thing. They're not expensive, so you can get the whole set for probably under $100. Look around. Try not to just do Amazon because Amazon is terrible, but also secondly, they don't have all of them on there. But if you go to either the MVD website, DVD discount, brotherbelial.com is another really good way to pick up independent movies. Orbit DVD. In North Carolina is another great place to pick up movies. They ship all over the country, and I found a lot of mine from those different places. So very good. All right, well, there we go. We have thoroughly reviewed this movie. We've gone through the plot. We've done all of the things, and it has been absolutely fantastic. Erin, I can't tell you how much fun I've had today. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's such a welcome breath of fresh air. And if you can tell everyone where they can find you, what you are doing, what they can expect, if you want them to follow you, pimp all of your things.
So both Hillary and I loathe social media, but we do have an Instagram page, Manic Movie Monday Podcast. And yes, send us a request, a follow request, and we will allow you into our tiny fan base. You can listen to us every Monday. We drop a new episode. I actually have an interview coming up with Nikki Dial from 90s Vivid Porn World. We just did we just did Copycat. We're going to be doing a movie called Hush from 2016, maybe. It's a Mike Flanagan movie.
Okay.
See? And there's lots more to come, as well as we have a sister podcast called Jallo Shots, which my fiance and I do like once a month, and that is strictly Italian horror. So if you're interested in Italian horror, you want to check that out also. But that's pretty much where you can find me and Hillary. We we check the page, but we try to stay off social media. We're trying to start a Discord where all of our fans can just come and talk. I'm sure that's just going to be a shit show waiting to happen, but it's an idea.
Do you want to find out who your fans are? That's the question.
Yeah, we'll see. A lot of dudes, because I saw the demographics of our show and like what the age group is and and it's a lot of dudes. So interesting how that worked out. But yeah, also why I do genuinely call your show a bit of a breath of fresh air, because it's not that obviously in my film fan circle and my friends online and podcaster and so on, I obviously know a lot of women who are into these kind of movies and into action movies and horror movies and things like that. But like, most of them, unfortunately, in the podcast world are like playing third fiddle to like a bunch of dudes, right? It's like it'll be like a group of, and that's absolutely fine. Like any female voices is welcome, but like normally they'll be like the third or fourth guest on the show. What I love about your show is it's female driven. I love how knowledgeable it is. I love how engaging it is. I love how funny you guys are, how quick you guys are with each other, and the banter that you have back and forth. But I love the fact that you like genuinely and unapologetically love these movies. You elevate them as best you can, and it's a voice that I had been looking for in podcasting for so long. And just someone who could, and I used to know someone called Jamie Jenkins who was on about 8 different podcasts, and she was absolutely fantastic and was very similar to yourself, and unfortunately has now withdrawn almost entirely from online life and podcasting and everything else, so sadly not around. Otherwise we'd also be having her on the show. But Erin, thank you so much for all that you do, and thank you for your podcast, and thank you for coming on and doing this episode today. Genuinely had a great time. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You are now leaving the PM Entertainment Podcast.